What up, people? What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to the show. It's Saturday instead of Sunday, and we are doing Equilibrium.
Hey, we're
My
early.
brothers were able to let me off the hook. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Doing it today because I got some kind of special event that my coworkers are having, and I was invited. And kind of rude for me not to attend. I couldn't do it tomorrow, but today's show is going to be fire. I do believe talking about it with each other throughout the week through DM and through phone conversation. So I think that we are going to have a good time.
Always do.
Of course, this is the newest member to our team, Ball Man Bad, aka John. We are waiting for Terrance. I'm sure he's gonna make his appearance. Of course,
Get
we also
hype,
have
humans.
I got a list of things trying to keep order right in my head. But the first thing I guess we want to tackle is Stargirl.
All right.
Now, at first when I first saw this video, first saw this show, I was like, it's okay. See, because the first 10 minutes was fire to me. I like stuff coming in, packed, like, oh man, who's this? Who's that? Then it got kind of slow, and then the ending kind of picked back up, kind of draw me in. But listening to Enzo and to Terrance, they were like, man, that's an A. I was like, I don't see that. How can I be 2 grades off? So I went back, I watched the second time, and I must admit, C was a little harsh. So I moved up to a B, but I ain't moving past a B for the first episode.
You have your standards.
Yeah. The second episode, I'm gonna give that a B plus A minus. Because man, when old boy Icicle pulled up in that Cadillac, I could see the mood changing. I'm saying this sucker here gonna be a problem. And they showed a little glimpse of Grundy. And I think the other guy, I believe, is a wizard. Heavy set guy that was kind of telling Icicle what was going on. So,
yo, Wizard Harry.
And also we see Strike. He trying to get a little bit of heart. He made that that robot gonna be all right. I think once he gets things worked out. I'm still not feeling Stargirl. She's still a little too klutzy. I guess that's
she's 15. She's 15.
Yeah.
This is early Peter Parker getting her powers.
I would give her that. But overall, I think this episode is a B plus, B minus. I think it's heading to the A, but I don't know.
It's already at the A, bro. It's already at an A.
No.
You're optimistic. I love internet optimism. It's so nice.
It's already out of there. It's a very good show. Very entertaining.
Flash and Black Lightning are A's. It ain't better than either one of them.
That's on the same levels.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on 2 episodes, bro.
Man.
Flash has how many seasons, and Black Lightning has 2 seasons already.
I like Flash 2 episodes. I thought it was almost better than Arrow. It was almost better than Arrow.
I like Flash better than Arrow.
After that 3rd season, I kind of agreed, and then Flash. Everything kind of just had a couple of really good seasons, and then they were trying to push the next person rather than keep the quality. Which You
didn't like the season with Wally West?
I like Wally West. I don't like what they did with him, but there was a lot of issues because the actor wanted to go off and do other things. And
I don't like that. The Zen Flash. I don't like that.
The which one?
He going to that Zen stuff now.
He was all Buddha and stuff. Yeah.
I don't. Terrance, you all right, bro? Terrance.
Stop watching Selma Hayek and get in there. Put the lotion back.
Can you hear us,
bro? Terrance like, fuck these humans.
I know he's already over.
I'm just gonna sit here and listen to them talk. Fuck these humans.
So okay, so it's 2 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
We got what I think the first one was like 47 minutes, and then the other one was like somewhere around there, 45, 50. I watched it on the DC app, the Universe
That's what I
app,
do.
and I'm hearing rumors that like there are longer or shorter cuts. I haven't noticed. Oh, there are? Okay.
Yeah.
They're a little different.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are.
So I think the DC had the long ones. So I think I got the extra stuff. Which
The DC does have the long ones. The ones that's on CW, the ones they show on TV, is the shorter version cut out.
Probably to make room for the ads or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Okay. That's fucking stupid. Why would you do that on a streaming service?
Terrance.
I mean, they have no choice when it comes to TV, right? Because you got to get the ads. So there's about 8 minutes cut out of the one that came on TV.
That just seems strange that like why would it's like a come as you are type of platform. So why even bother?
Can you hear me?
I mean, I guess if you're gonna because it's probably the one that you cut for television.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah, it kept saying error when I kept trying to click on the link for some reason. I don't know why.
What's up, Terrance? You good?
We good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fucking 2 squared coming in strong.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what did I miss?
We just talking about Stargirl. I gave it a B-. We go around the room, see what everybody else think. I think John is going to be a little bit more tough.
Mm-hmm.
Why has everybody already got to start outing me like that?
No, you said during our conversation this week.
I know.
Yeah, we know what you thought.
I thought it was.
So yeah, I guess I should say. You want me to say my thoughts on the second episode?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like how the relationship between Pat and Courtney is evolving. You know, that there is legitimate respect for the Pat character, because normally what I didn't want to happen that didn't happen at all was that any sort of failing or any sort of mistake that the Pat character might make, that he would get bashed by Courtney being the female character. We did not get that, and she specifically stated that, I need you. We took out Brainwave together, and the staff chose me and I choose you. And I thought that was awesome, because we don't normally get that. It was kind of like that glaring opportunity for them to do that, but they decided to give you a more wholesome moment. And I think that a lot of the material is better for that they don't try to just do the typical stuff that are like, why did you say that? So I'm glad that sort of relationship is getting better, that she actually, respects Pat more now that she's been thrusted into this kind of world with the JSA and the Injustice Society. And
it seems that Pat is finally going to go along with that. She is Starman's daughter.
Well, she's not. He's going along with it, but she's not. Like in the comics, her father is I forget his name, Nathaniel something, but he is a member of the Royal Flush Gang, so he's actually very evil. And in the comic books, for the longest time, she thought, Starman, Sylvester Pemberton, was her father. And then later on, like once she gets fully established with the JSA, once the rest of the members and their team gets really big, then she is confronted by this Nathaniel fellow, and she does investigation on him, and she finds out that that's her biological father. So you have this entire arc where her reason for being was completely twisted and wrong. And if they tackle that in the show, I think that could lead for some very intense, drama-heavy type stuff, because when someone's under the wrong impression, it could really crush their spirit, especially if, that person has aspired to be a hero off the notion that someone that they deeply admire was also a hero. And somebody like Pat and the rest of her teammates will have to guide her through that, because she's going to be pissed.
So I want to definitely put the spotlight on that, since you brought it up. So I was really curious, because I'm coming at this, I don't know anything about the comics when it comes to this. I'm coming purely based on the execution, like the way it was written, the way it was shot, the way things were edited and stuff like that. I'm coming at it kind of like a, technical way of how they sent it at us. I'm curious. So then, because the show is obviously heavily alluding to the fact that Starman was her dad, especially like the way it opened up on episode 1 and the way they keep baiting.
Also, in that locket, that guy looks like Starman.
Exactly, and I have
but that's the thing though. Like, if you go back and look at that frame, he doesn't look the same. There's a difference in terms of his facial structure.
Oh yeah,
I caught that.
We'll get to that, and then there was, because I had a question for you, Terrance, because I figured you would know. My girl and I watched it, and she had a theory, and I'm totally buying into it. That the staff itself, I don't know. One, does the cosmic staff have a personality like it does in the show? Like, is that a thing?
It's not so much that the staff has a personality as much as it is that the mental projections of the user kind of goes to the staff. So it kind of like will feed off of what you're doing, which is why you kind of see it light up and get brighter whenever she gets frustrated or she's in danger. So that's really all that it is. But because it's so reactive, it gives the impression that it has its own personality.
Okay, because it was very like Herbie the Love Bug there for a couple episodes, and I was kind of
right.
It's
but
not
then
consistent either.
Well, and that was kind of something that we were starting to allude to. We were curious. We were starting to think that the staff is inherently evil, and that's why Starman was like, it has to go to someone heroic and a good heart and blah blah blah.
I gotta tackle those things one at a time. So the first thing that you said in terms of them alluding that Starman is her father. Now, in terms of the comic books, the way that Jeff Johns wrote them, it had that very same approach. So that's why I'm saying it seems like they're more or less doing the same thing because it is playing out in a similar fashion. Now, for say someone like me to where I really know this information, what they could be doing is they could throw in a little twist and maybe it actually turns out that he is, but it's playing out in the exact same way. So that's why I'm like, well, the Pac character has specifically stated he's not your father. He's not your father, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. And then, once you end up in further situations, he's like, well, I guess. Like, he's just like, I guess, fine. I'm tired of telling you over and over that he's not your dad. So no matter what I say, as far as the Pac character, he's like, no matter what I say, you're not going to believe me. So this seems to be something where she has to be shown. Again, this is something that does play out into the comic books, but I am curious to see these sort of twists that they put in there just to kind of keep someone like myself at bay to where I'm like, oh, it's definitely going to happen like that. Kind of like the kind of twist that they did in the Batman Hush animated movie. They sort of played it out to a T, except for the couple of twists they threw in there. And then for me, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Some people didn't like that, but I got why they did it for the sake of trying to make it feel fresh, So there's that. And then what you said in terms of the cosmic staff, there's a possibility that they could be doing something else with it. And whatever they end up doing, I feel like, okay, like from my perspective, I think it'll make sense because I think that whatever they end up doing, they will explain it. As the episodes have been progressing, they've been giving you more and more information to kind of amp up the drama and the intensity, which is something that I also appreciate about the show because I'm like, I'm definitely on the right track, but it's these little twists and turns that can make it even more special, to where instead of me where I am being very satisfied with the material thus far, you could really throw a couple of monkey wrenches in there and make me go, oh, okay, that's awesome. Like that could be a new addition. Jeff Johns could sort of sneak something in there to sort of amp up something that he's already established. So, your theories that you have, John, and that others have had, I feel are warranted, but it's just, again, it seems to be playing out in the exact same way. So I have to really watch the rest of the show to see where the twists and turns come into effect.
Yeah, it is only 2 episodes. Like, let's be
right.
Be fair here.
So what's your rating on this episode, Terrance?
The first one I did give it a 10. This one pretty much the same thing. Like I think that in terms of this one, one could argue that it's slightly better than the first episode, but I really
Much
think
better.
that yeah, like some will feel like that, and I wouldn't really debate that much, but I would sort of suggest that um, if you look at the approach for how they do most TV shows, they have to give you a reason to keep coming back. So
Exactly.
while, in my opinion, they're of sort of the same quality, you have to keep giving them the edge. Like by the time you get to the end of the episode, the viewer should be saying, "I want to see the next one." And if you don't do that,
Yeah.
then they may fall away from that particular show. So that ending where you had Icicle, and that looked like the Dragon King. Like it's like he rarely takes off his little cobra like mask that some would equate to GI Joe, but like that character.
I thought it was a wizard.
Well, I thought the wizard died. You know what I mean? Like I thought he got killed in that first episode. So it might be him, but I'm alluding more towards the Dragon King. But we shall see.
Yeah. I'm gonna use the old 1966 campy Batman. Campy as it was, always have you lit like what? How the hell Batman Rob gonna get out of this? That formula works. That formula works. I think they dropped the ball first formula because it was okay when the robot came there, Stripe, whatever they're gonna call it now, but it wasn't like when this episode when I saw the Cadillac pulling up, they had the music. I said, "Oh boy, whoever get out that car, that's gonna be a problem." I don't know who it is.
Icicle is definitely a problem. Absolutely.
Yeah, he walking down there, hall so cool and cold. He's like, "Hey, what's up?"
And in fact, like I remember when they used him in Smallville, he also took out multiple members of the JSA, and Hawkman disbanded the group for many, many years. And it wasn't until they lost track of Dr. Fate, and then they found him, and he was homeless and rummaging through the garbage, and they're just like, first of all, a lot of us have been killed. The rest I can't even track down, and they're just like, Dr. Fate, like you can do anything. You can literally go to different dimensions. You can know where somebody is at any place and time. You had the government where they were arresting people and throwing them in mental institutions, which also happened to Dr. Fate, but he managed to get out of that situation. But it's very interesting how they can tackle all that in here, because while it has a very family friendly element, there also is a lot of deep stuff in there that could catch you off guard, that a person may not be expecting, especially.
Well, I mean, we started off with a bunch of hero deaths, like
right. Yeah. That's true. But I mean, like once you get past that, though, you do get more of that wholesome family vibe, but they still make sure to let you know, like these people are out here. There are people that are dead. There are people that are in hiding. So you can't be distracted by all the sunshine and rainbows. Like there is a problem. And it's an overlurking problem. And then we saw that Icicle went down into the lair, and Solomon Grundy and the rest of the members are not even there yet. Like they have a bunch of people, like even more than we've seen. But for the sake of this particular season, we'll probably just get a handful of them, and then more will come based off of how many more JSA members come. The JSA will get bigger, and then Injustice Society will go, well, okay, now there's 7 of them, but we're gonna need to bring in everybody. And you saw that with I like when Icicle talked to Brainwave. I did pay attention to that when he told him, wait for us to get there. So they have a very group like mentality. Like, despite what we can do, we will be better if we attack all at once.
Even though Brainwave didn't listen at all.
No, he did not. And I caught that too. But like Icicle,
he underestimated her.
He did, and that's because he thought. Wait, go ahead.
I don't think Icicle and whoever the undisclosed person is know that she's a female, because he said at the end that I've killed one Star Man, I can kill another. So I don't think they've identified that she's a female. But what kind of made Brainwave overconfident? Oh, this is a young teenage girl. She goes to school with my son.
Well, why wouldn't Brainwave be overconfident? He has the best power. It makes
I agree.
The thing that I want to throw in there too. The thing that I want to throw in there too is that the like the way it worked out in the comics is that for a lot of the villains also thought that Stargirl is like, oh, this is Starman's daughter, like it has to be her. How could she hold the staff? This doesn't make sense. But it seemed like once Courtney found out, and when the villains found out, they're like, oh, well, then that okay, so all our thoughts are out of the window. Does that mean anything? Like, is it like, is her other family members going to come and do something? Well, her father's connected to bad guys. Like, what kind of influence does he have? Because if he's a villain and he's a hierarchy, that could be trouble for the other villains. Like, how dare you touch this person? And you know, that causes a lot of problems. So I think that a lot of people watching are really not ready for the kind of drama that they're just going to just throw right in your face, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, she got John.
Oh, me? Oh, I figured I would let you guys talk glowingly because apparently the theme of me kind of poo-pooing on everything that apparently I do on my own podcast all the time. Apparently that's going to ring pretty true here as per usual. So I kind of want you to get that all out, and then y'all can make fun of me all you want because I watched it multiple times and I have things to say.
Oh yeah, no. That's you know
You want to hear that?
fine.
That's what's gonna make good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be a good show if all four of us agree every single time.
Well, yeah, but like I said, John, though, you throw stuff out there, and you know any sort of questions or things, then I will do what I just did. You know.
Oh yeah, I need the lore book. Terrance is. If we're humans, you're like the encyclopedia man. Like you're Dr. Lore.
Just remember though, John, you're trying to avoid the Phantom Zone. Remember that, right?
I know, right? Eventually they can potentially let me out if I do good. So again, I want to reiterate that I really do tend to come at these shows since I don't have a ton of the comic book lore behind me. I really go with the way it's presented, like the way it's edited, dialogue, setups of the shots and things like that, and like how they progress the story elements and like the payoffs and the little seeds that they plant. I gotta say, production value wise, this is much better than I've seen in a lot of things. It's already better than Supergirl and Batwoman combined, probably. Like I would have to say. I think I saw somebody in the chat say that. 100% agree.
John, yeah, you're on point because now this show, it is a DC streaming service show that they air on the CW, right? So what I noticed with those is the budget is a little bit higher.
Well, and look at the actors they got, dude. Amy Smart and Luke Wilson pretty much playing the parents alone is already like, I mean, not that Amy Smart is like huge ticket bill, but still, she's been in enough stuff.
You are exactly right. Yeah.
I still always have to make fun. I cannot help myself. The DC logo thing that they do, like the little trailer with like the Batman throwing the stuff and Wonder Woman, like the cartoons doing stuff. I still make fun of it because it's a little cheesy. And I love the fact that they have the white Aquaman at the beginning, and then they have the guy that looks like Jason Momoa in the banner ad when it finishes out. I still laugh about that.
The thing that I like about that is number one, it looks like they're comic books, so that's cool. But
the cartoon element, yeah.
Right. It looks like a comic book moving, so I'm like, that's cool for me from an artistic standpoint. But the fact that they're able to show you a different interpretation while there is another one out there shows that they're not trying to hide or shy away from anything.
Did they do the Hal Jordan? Is there a John Stewart Green Lantern in the banner too?
That I'm not sure. I kind of analyzed the when you have the moment where they're all standing and you got the different zoom in, and there's actually a good amount of characters there. That I haven't seen him, but with that said, whatever you don't see in that banner, they have kind of set up these characters in different ways, be it a movie or a show, and then you got the sort of multiversal kind of effect. So it is interesting when you break it all down.
I was just looking at it like they just wanted something cool, like the Marvel at the beginning.
Well, yeah, like they figured, well, we can do the same thing, because a lot of their characters, a lot of people already know, so
I think what's happening with this show is happening with a lot of their CW shows right now. They cannot help themselves, man. They do not want to wait for a payoff. They just want to throw the kitchen sink at you immediately. So pretty much I got 7 minutes in and I was already talking to Hannah that I was already seeing really bad editing, like just horrific editing, really bad tone setting, and really generic, lazy writing.
Did you see it on the CW or the DC streaming service?
The DC app.
Okay.
And so my main issue is that right off the bat they start with the black background, white text 10 years ago. Fine with that. Totally works. We come into Stripesy driving the car really, really fast. Like he's obviously chaotic and he's going crazy. And we hear a Christmas song playing.
Right.
Totally does not match the tone. He's like, him and Starman are having a conversation on the radio and it's like, get here, do this. And you're seeing like the Christmas banners and it opened on a Christmas light anyway. Let me kind of set the picture here. And so he's going and it's down an empty street. There's like a hobo. There's no snow. So you're like, Christmas. Okay, it's obviously Christmas. So where are we? And then the Christmas song does not work for setting this tone. But then there's this hard cut right when he gets to the mansion where this big blowout is happening, where all the heroes and villains are fighting. He crashes through and then shows up and the music goes like, like really like amped up. That fits the tone. I was telling Hannah, I really felt like they should have started with his conversation on the radio over the text and on the black screen. And then we just shot into him coming through the gate and showing up, because we start on this big grandiose fight. And then there's this huge reveal after spoilers. Starman dies. And then we pull out to show the skyline, and anybody who's ever lived in the West Coast would understand what that skyline is. So it's like, oh, that's why there's no snow at Christmas. And it is Christmas, because then you could have played the Christmas song then, because when we pull all the way out and then you see the little girl holding a Christmas present, which is a very heavy-handed, very obvious. So I thought that would have been a better introduction.
Okay, John, like everything that you just said, I feel is a taste issue, and I'll tell you why. Because from my perspective, them starting with the Christmas song is very appropriate for the JSA, because one of their main themes is family and celebration. Like I remember there was a small segment of that in Smallville when Chloe Sullivan was talking to that particular Stargirl and stuff, and she's like, what is it with all these portraits and painting, and you got like a little dinner table and stuff, and she said, well, we're like a family. We don't just only get together when the world is in danger, which to Clark and Martian Man, it was a stab at them, because they only get together when there's danger. But like the JSA, their family, they care very much about Christmas, Thanksgiving. I guess the smaller things that are mainly overlooked by a lot of people, because they're like, well, it's coming, we're going to have it every year. But the JSA really relish in those things. And it's very important. Like when one member is not there, they're like, where's so-and-so? We need to get so-and-so here so we can eat. They often will not eat until the rest of the members get there. So for me, it just sort of got me in the mood. I'm like, yeah, this is a family thing. And then, like you said, when it cut to the bump, 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 it was like the extreme, like somebody's fighting kind of thing. It kind of gave me a jolt effect, and it kind of snapped me out of that. Like, oh, okay, yeah, this is about family, but family is being slaughtered. So you're kind of just thrown into that situation.
But the way you make that sound, it seems like it almost should have been flipped. Like you could have slow-moed it and then played the Christmas song while they were fighting, which would have been jarring.
You could have done that, but either way for me is fine, because again, it really just depends on the perspective of the person. So it's not so much right or wrong, but like for me, I knew what they were doing right away. I didn't have to really think. I didn't know that the JSA was going to be killed like that, but I was already in the mood, like, okay, I'm watching Stargirl. What am I going to get? So I was already along for that ride.
I suppose. And then I guess once he breaks through, this was where I got to more like the laziness of the writing. And this kind of happens a little bit and you're seeing it in a lot of big budget movies too, like the way we are introduced to characters or we're told their names or the way that people interact. It's very slapdash. Stripesy just straight up shows up and like, Wildcat gets chucked through the building and he sees him. He's like, oh, Wildcat. He's literally just there so they can cut to him and he can just say the names for all the comic book fans. And I kind of felt that was really weak sauce when we have a scene like later and they do it in this like really like not subtle, but like just a less dramatic way or like on the nose way where he's like going through the files and it's like code name. There's the picture of the guy we just saw. I told Hannah, I go, it feels really lazy. It's like when Poe and Finn met each other in Force Awakens. It's like, hi, I'm Finn. Hey, I'm Poe or whatever. And
okay,
Poe gives him his name.
Poe and Finn, like that's man. Whew.
But you know what I mean?
It's going on Star Wars, but like no. Yeah,
but I was saying it felt like a missed opportunity because, especially down the road with Courtney and Stripesy having this weird disconnect, I felt like the picture scene could have been way more prominent had we not already been introduced to every name. Like Stripesy teaching the audience with her at the same time could have been a really nice moment for everyone. I think they were just banking on giving references to people who knew the reference already.
But here's the thing, though, like the stuff that one may feel is bad editing, I feel is not so much bad editing as much as it was meant to keep you in the dark. Like they're not going to give you everything right away. So I feel like those quick moments were like a whiplash. You're like, whoa, what was that? Wait, what? And you're not able to process it because you're not supposed to. But when you get it, it's going to be like, oh, I feel like if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I'm picturing that we are going to revisit that moment and we're going to get the full picture, and I think at that point, we'll answer our questions. Okay, dang, like, so this person did get killed or this person got away. So the way that this particular storytelling goes, and so far they have been sort of playing it out beat by beat with just tad bit of different changes, is that if you look at it from a comic book perspective, you got like issue 1 and you're reading, you're like, man, I feel like I'm missing something, but it seems like it's done on purpose. And then you get to the next issue and you're like, oh, okay, well, how come they didn't do that at first? It's like, well, it wasn't meant to, and then they will show you why. And this is assuming that it plays out in the way that I'm thinking, but that's sort of the impression that I got from it. There was a reason for all these sort of, quick cuts and different things, is because they want you to theorize. They want you to do what you're doing.
No. The fact was, as I was saying, literally just the idea of cutting back to Stripesy just to say the character's name. I thought that was lazy writing. It was lame. No,
I get what you're saying.
That's what I was talking about.
No, I get you, but that's not how I felt, though.
Because they could have done something like, hey, Stripesy, get out of here. And then we could have learned the names later and like,
but I didn't feel he was there just to say the names.
It's all he did. It was all he did.
But not really. He helped start. He helped.
No, he just drives him off.
Yeah, but
which is fine.
He went
but he didn't
inside the house. He picked him up, pulled him out.
But we didn't need the dialogue. He still could have done all that.
But to be fair, though, John, I feel like this is again another situation of taste, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
but
it's fine.
For me, the way that I broke it down as it was presented to me, I'm like, this feels very familiar with just some slight changes, and I want to see what they're going to reveal and if they're going to revisit that whole scene, because I really want to see how that started off, because for them to all be in the same place, this element of family, I want to see, like, so what were they chilling? And then you had to have this sort of well executed plan for them to catch them all there and for it to be such a massacre like that. I mean, it was just like, I mean, sure, there was a little bit back and forth, but it was a slaughter for all intents and purposes,
100% they're going to go back to that scene, Terrance, somewhere in the season. They're going to go back to that. They're going to explain what they were doing there. Yeah, we're going to see how it started for sure.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right, Jason. I'm hoping that they do that. But, John, I get your points, and I hope you get what I'm saying as well.
Oh, the whole thing is like go off and reveals and stuff are fine. I'm saying just if you recut it and don't even just have him have looks of like when Dr. Midnight or whatever gets sucked up and like Hourglass and stuff, he doesn't need to say their names. We could have found out those characters with Courtney, learned their names just in case people didn't know who these guys were. Like somebody tuning into the show because they like the Flash but don't know anything about JSA. It could have been a nice little way to introduce the characters with our main character who doesn't know these people.
You're right. That could have been a way, but for me, like with as much comic book stuff as I've seen,
that's who they're making it for.
Right. Well, not entirely. It's just it's nice to not only see the characters but to hear them shout things, because they do it in the comics all the time. Hey, it's Superman. Hey, it's Flash. It's like, we know, for those of us that know, but that's what they do. So they are very much behaving in a comic book fashion because that's what they do.
And then I'll just cut ahead to, I hate the Starman death scene. It is so tonally awful. I can't get over it's Joel McHale, but that's neither here nor there. The like making jokes to his lifelong buddy that we find out he's known since he was 15. Like, I'm fine with him being like, I love the fact that it's like, it's fine that he's like, oh no, not you. Like, go find somebody else. But like, we keep going to the joke of like, no, not you, but seriously, not you, while he's dying. So I'm like, am I taking this seriously, or is this just all a big joke?
That's fair, John. But
it just felt silly. It felt overtly silly.
It was meant to be, and it was meant to be, John. So like the fact that you felt like that is good, because look, when he died, he did finish it with a serious notion, like, you were my best friend. So their banter back and forth has always been sort of like, Starman has a hard time admitting how important Pat is to everybody. Like, it's like they respect him, but they're always kind of giving him a hard time because he's not on their level. But he could arguably have the biggest heart out of everyone, like in his way of telling them what they should be doing. And they're like, all right, Pat, you go ahead and sit down, bring us the car, whatever. But in these moments like this, they know that Pat is beast. So despite all the jokes, it's like, you can't die or go away without letting him know, like, you're my friend, you're important. So I thought that was cool how they did that.
Well, that was fun. That part was fine. No, not you, but like, seriously, not you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, though. Like,
I agree with John. I agree with John on there. I thought that was silly.
I like it.
Yeah, it was silly. Like, I'm not denying that, but that's, again, it goes along with the whole let's brush Pat off until. It's always until. So you would get I
think it was more so Jason McHale, his brand of comedy, whatever.
I feel like they just wanted to have a Marvel joke. I thought they were just trying to be funny.
That could be the case.
All it felt
but
like.
Again, but that could be the case. I'm not denying that, but again, it still goes along the lines of disrespect, brush off until, and then until is ... and you can insert whatever you want in there.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think it was disrespectful to the show. That should have been more serious.
I agree. You just had the JSA be murdered in front of this guy who's known them forever, and we're cracking wise on his deathbed.
Like, no. Like, if I would have probably did that a little bit differently. I would have made it more serious, but at the same time, I did not have a problem with it from the way that it ended. Like, if it would have been not you, and then he would have died, then I wouldn't have liked that. But because you end it with a serious note, then I'm fine with that.
Friend.
Yeah, because like he kept saying that, and at first I was like, "Oh, come on, you, don't do Pat like that." And then when he said that, and then you saw his demeanor change, I was like, "Okay, yeah, there you go. You got to say something."
I think Pat is acting too hard. He doesn't seem the right fit for that part.
Right? No, you're probably right, but it's just, again, I had a small issue until he said that. So because he said that, I changed my mind on how I felt.
I'm saying the guy that playing Pat, I think he's the wrong actor for that.
Luke Wilson?
I don't think he has the skill set to play Pat.
Maybe. I don't know, man. He's just kind of like a cheap Paul Rudd. I can see him being like overtly likable. He's one of the only like fleshed out characters other than Brainwave. Well, I think Brainwave and Hit Patsy are like the two, or Patsy
I would not equate him as being a cheap anything. That's just the nature of the character.
He's a good actor. I mean,
right?
He is a good actor.
When if anything, when there's something already out there, the comparisons are going to happen. But at the same time, we still got to, look at the characters themselves. Like, what kind of personalities are they pulling from? What are these characters supposed to be doing and saying? And kind of look at them that way instead of, oh, this is the cheaper version or the better version necessarily. I'm like,
Well, I'm just talking about like tonally.
Well,
I don't really
I
care about all that other stuff. It was just because then we cut back to the Christmas song that we'd already heard, and then we're pulling out, and then we obviously meet our protagonist in child form. So it's like it was just like, okay, weird music off, death scene, another death scene.
Did you hear what you said? You said that it cut back to the music, like.
Yeah.
Once you set up a certain song, they tend to use it again. Like if you look at
that's called thematically. This was like they used the song because they wanted to hit you over the head with the fact that it was Christmas, and you could have done that after his death. Go to the Christmas song, and it's like, oh, we just saw a horrific murder of a superhero team, and we didn't even know it was Christmas because there's no snow on the ground. That would have been a huge reveal. And then we meet the girl holding a Christmas present. It's like, oh my God, I get it. It's Christmas. But then
I get you, John. But at this point, I think this is just more semantics than anything.
It's totally just a presentation thing, but it's stuff that stuck out to me.
I got you.
First 7 minutes, I noticed it.
I got you, but to me, this is more semantics. Like, I mean, I could have done the same thing and just literally, I guess, destroyed every scene, if you will. But I'm like, that's just semantics. It doesn't have to be this or that. And it comes down to what the person prefers.
The only reason why I bring it up is because it's something that is pretty egregious throughout both episodes. It's a returning factor.
But it is, but there's a reason for that. There's a reason for everything that they're doing. But but to be fair, what is considered good or bad is based off of what the person thinks and nothing else.
Oh, no subjective, objective are two things, but I'm not going to get into that.
Well, we've got into it before. Like you can get into it, but again, though, as you stated,
I'm going to bring up my points, and I'll let you go off because you guys are.
You said that you have a certain preference, and then you stated what those are, and then I stated that sure, some of that, you can interchange it with other things, but my point is that I didn't have a problem with it, is what I'm saying.
My main thing is I feel like these get away with just comic book fans liking references. That's a big thing for me. Because I feel like that's not how this started, and people can disagree with me all they want. Everybody always says that Arrow was because they couldn't make Batman. This Arrow is not Green Arrow. We all understand that, but it stood on itself. It didn't need it to be Green Arrow to be.
Hang on for the people listening, John. I should clarify. Number one, that show was made in the likeness of what Christopher Nolan did with the Batman movies. True.
No, they literally said they couldn't get the license to Batman, so they would.
No, I understand that, but they already had plans for a Green Arrow show. Way before that was when they had Smallville. The original plan was to do a spinoff with that Green Arrow, and because that fell through, they're like, well, let's just do a whole other universe, and what we're gonna do is, Batman normally he's not used on television, but at the same time they already had those plans, so they're like, well, what we can do is we can sort of combine the two, sort of make the output of how everything looks and make it in the vein of Batman, but at the same time, for Green Arrow fans, we know that there are plenty of comic books where the Green Arrow character is darker, especially when his son dies. So there is a precedence for it. So it's like that's right, but that's not the full story.
Well, you get all kinds of iterations. I mean, we even got One Arm Ollie.
Yes, exactly.
What I'm saying is I feel like the shows have more delved into more, instead of telling their story within their universe, they're really just banking on references, which is not inherently a bad thing, which is actually a good segue, because there was something I actually giggled at and I enjoyed. When we flash forward to quote unquote present day, which I gotta ask you guys what happens with that in a few seconds. But they're moving, right? So we get the little montage of her little post board that's got all her awards, so we know that she's a gymnast and's got friends and, you know, all that stuff. It pretty much tells us about her character in like 2 frames. There's a moving truck that goes by. Did anybody notice anything about that moving truck?
Yeah.
Action moving.
That shit, John, that shit made me jump out of my seat. I love when they do that. I love it.
I had a big old strong giggle on that. I was like, yes.
I liked it too.
I like when they do that because to me, it shows that there is passion involved, that you took the time to figure out how to incorporate that for the people that are familiar with those things.
And see, and that's the difference between the cool, subtle, oh man, you nailed it, versus get it, dummy. This is the thing we're doing. That's
I
guess I must
look at it like that though. Yeah.
You start doing the plain math again because I didn't.
Oh, you missed the movie track?
Can't hear you, Danny.
I said sure did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I noticed it right away, man. Right away.
What did it say?
Action Comics.
Yeah.
What did it say?
Action Moving, but it was the Action Comic logo.
Yeah. So to me, it's like I like the subtle one where you kind of, you know, you gotta. To me, it wasn't subtle though because it was on a big ass truck, so I noticed it right away. To me, more subtle is.
But most people wouldn't know that logo unless they're a big DC fan.
Fair enough, but I mean, in terms of like, if you're a fan, that was not subtle to me. But like to me, like even for a fan, a subtle thing would be like in the background you see like an item or something on the wall. You like, wait a minute, hold up, and then you know you just. It's like that. But to me, that was very in your face. But again, as you said, Danny didn't notice it. That's fine. But I like no matter what they do, whether it's you got to think about it, whether it's in your face or they're saying the name of whatever, that always makes me smile that they're doing it. Because sometimes they want to be paying attention.
I'm just like, I gotta ask then. Like, so I'm trying to figure out the standards of what's referential, that's good and subtle. Because Action Comics was before DC Comics, and how many people even know what DC Comics even stands for?
Well,
like I'm saying, because normal
comics,
as I don't want to take your term, but normies watch this stuff too because it's just up there. I mean, like I said, how many people are gonna get those references? But for the people who are in the know, I think a name like Action Moving seems like a pretty decent name.
But here's what I'll tell you though.
That's what I mean by subtle.
If normies or whatever you want to call them, if they have watched enough of this comic book based stuff, they learn. I'll give you an example. Like my brother, he doesn't know anything about comics. Everything that he knows is from a show or a movie, which means that his knowledge is very limited. So he's seen enough to where when he saw that truck, he looked at me and he's like, Terrance, does that mean something? I'm like, yeah, it does. So he's able to pick up on just being in the habit of, if they say a name, that must be important. If they're focusing on a character, that mustn't be important. If they show you an item, that has to be important. So I think they're smart enough to learn if they've been dealing with that material for enough time.
Well, I think that is a really good way of adding for rewatchability. I think a lot of these shows want rewatchability, not just a one and done. And I think that's how you do it, is by having little Easter egg type stuff like that, not just
correct.
Oh, exactly. I got all the information. I don't need to go back and get it because they already told me everything.
Right. But it's fun though it's fun to like for me, like, you know, whether DC, MCU movies, whatever, you know, I have seen them many, many times, and you know, I go with different groups of friends and stuff, and each time, you know, I'll get something out of it. For the most part, I catch most things, but then, you know, there's an occasional where like, oh, I didn't realize that was in the background or something, you know, and then it sort of gives me just a slightly different perspective. Not so much whether I like or dislike it, but just now that I realize that that's so-and-so's weapon, that means that that person may be in the next one, just stuff like that. So like I said, the rewatchability for me is important, but at the same time, if I watch it, then I'm cool. I'm like, I don't need to necessarily see it again. I just care about whether I enjoyed it and if it entertained me.
Yeah.
And those little Easter eggs that they put in there, sorry, Danny, but those little Easter eggs, they're not for normies. They're for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because then once you learn and then you go back, you're like, oh, that's what that means. That's
right.
Let's start saying our final thoughts on this segment because we're going to spend an hour on this.
Right.
To discuss.
But no, like I just wanted to say my piece on that. Like, I'm very as a person that likes the JSA and respects the Stargirl character because she does have interesting comic books. Yeah. She's one of the more interesting female comic book characters on any venue just because she's so fun to read. She's such a likable character, and I'm very pleased with what they've done thus far. So as long as they keep on the way that they're going, I'm gonna get a lot more stuff that I'm gonna very much enjoy, and there could be some surprises in there. Like, I like when I'm just sitting there with like, yeah, I know where you're going with this. There's no, oh shit. Like, I like having those kinds of moments.
Well, I'm just, I guess since we're going to finish up, I got a couple other things, but I could honestly talk about, I saw so many weird issues with.
We have more time at the end before we'll go back to this.
Just kind of like some specific things. And I'm sure we'll talk about it more as the episodes come out. One, Patsy's like terribly stupid off the bat. Like, they make a lot of these characters really dumb to progress the plot, and it just annoys the hell out of me. Like, he doesn't lock any of his really important stuff. Like, the staff just pops open. All of his trunks, never locks them, even though they're all sensitive material. And literally in the basement, he just leaves them out on the floor for her to find. There was no, like, trickery or, like, she noticed him doing something shady and she followed him and found it. It was literally just there for her to read and find out.
And that's a fair analysis, John, except when I look at the Pat character, man, like, he's just different. Like, if we were talking about any other member of the JSA, number one, like Hawkman, you ain't getting anywhere near any of their weapons. Like, that shit will be locked up times 3, times 2. He will probably get Dr. Fate to put some kind of mystical spell on it or something.
Let me say this. John is right. It didn't make any sense. Why have the most powerful weapon just there ready available? But then the robot he's working on is in the secret shop in the way of the back. Why not keep all that stuff in the same location? So it would be more secure.
That's fair, but in the case, that's fair, but I'm not really as concerned about the cosmic staff because it's not going to work for 99.9% of people.
She blew up a car.
Yes, but again, it's not going to work for 99.9% of people.
But she blew up a car.
Yes, exactly. She is,
and gave away
that's why she's the main character. It just so happened to work for her. In fact, all the characters, all of them
are dumb.
Confused.
They're dumb.
They are confused.
The mom. Are you kidding me?
For her.
The mom and the daughter have lived together alone in an apartment for like a billion years.
The mom is a fucking parent. Like, a lot of my friends' parents, they ain't that smart. They don't be knowing what their kids are doing. Like, there's been so many times where they're like, Johnny, I didn't know you were doing that. Oh, I didn't know. I thought you liked this. They don't be knowing shit, John. I just be sitting there like, how the fuck did you not know about your son or daughter? Like, if you would have asked the basic questions.
That's fine, but I'm talking, we literally have a scene where she yells, gets out of bed, and the mom comes in concerned. 2 seconds later, still has the door open, goes flying out the window and screams again, and the mom doesn't care. And, like, nobody talks about it. Then the next time we have a weird moment, I don't know if Patsy's, are they married? I didn't even figure that out. But
if we start
they have bruises on their face. Cuts.
No, you're. But I'll tell you this, John. If we look for people that are not comic book fans, there has been so many times of why this? How come they didn't notice the cape? How come times a million?
Clark Kent taking his glasses off and being Superman, suspension of disbelief. To your fake husband or whatever and your daughter both happen to have their faces all busted up.
I know. It's silly, but look, it is the damn nature of this comic book stuff. It's like
I guess.
Again, we can spend breaking down all this stuff, but for what? Like, because then
for better writing.
Well, no. Like again, like I said, I don't think that there's anything wrong with the writing. Like I enjoy it very much. So I'm just waiting for them to give me more. But again, this is only 2 episodes, and I know for sure that we're gonna get some dope stuff.
So then, last comment then, because I cannot figure this out for the life of me. What fucking year is it? I cannot figure it out because it said 10 years ago, and then we're present day, but yet we're dealing with old school music constantly. Very like Leave It to Beaver stuff. And don't give me that Nebraska crap. I lived in Iowa for 10 years.
Right.
We're a little weird, but I was getting Children of the Corn vibes, which I do think that's going to be like a villain thing, like they're putting something in the water type storyline. Yeah. But that stupid little brother actor who's really annoying and not funny, he's playing on like a Nintendo Switch, yet it feels like we're in the 1940s and 50s. I cannot figure this out.
Look. I'm not entirely sure the specific timeline because with the JSA and the comics, they're like the 40s and 50s, right? Okay. So you get a 10-year jump. You would have to be anywhere from like the 70s to the 80s, I would imagine. Just
then
because
say that they said present day though.
I understand that, but I'm just saying like that's where you would have to be.
He's holding a Nintendo Switch. He's holding a Nintendo Switch.
I got you, but I'm just saying, like,
killing my soul.
That is slightly odd because they are an older team. So even if you do like a 10-year time jump, you're not going to be that far away from it. So this would be one of those things where they're just playing with the years, which is fine.
Day. Y'all not see that y'all not see that Cadillac CTS you go up in? That's present day.
Wait, what?
Oh the car.
Ice Cube go up in a Cadillac CTS. That's present day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, but it literally gives you the title card that says present day, and so then I'm trying to figure out like what they could just tell us.
Well, right, John. But check this out though.
And they went to a drive-in theater. Like what?
Right? No. But check this out though. It's like Batman the animated series. That's supposed to be in present day, but like it looks like it's in
back in the 90s.
Just saying, like somebody's like, okay, well, how come it looks so old, but he has all this crazy technology? I'm like, yeah, I know, it's
because that's a fake universe. Batman didn't run around with a Nintendo Switch.
Well, they're all fake. They just incorporate certain things.
You could make a fake video game. You could make fake.
Well, they're not all the time. Sometimes they mix and mash, as you know. This is not new.
Ah, come on, we're moving the goalposts.
Oh, come on. You know they mix and mash all the time. It's to keep us guessing. To give us these sorts of conversations. It is silly. It is silly, but it is inherently comic book stuff.
And I'm very surprised they went with the girl shorts for her costume when they're like very like, let's cover up the ladies. They made Supergirl wear a jumpsuit, yet they gave her the shorts that look really dopey. Also, the sewing scene is so stupid. It kills me.
I fucking love that scene. I'll tell you why. Like, to me,
and I'll tell you why I hate
it. To me, I'm like, man, like there might be some cameras in the school, but I guess she's not really caring because that shows that she's not I like that she's not perfect. She does risky things. She panics. That makes me care about her more than if you give me this Mary Sue. Oh, look, she's doing everything perfectly. Oh, look, she can't struggle. Oh, look, she doesn't need a team. I don't want to see that shit because that's not how it is in the comic books. I want to see these characters making mistakes, doing shit where I'm like, what the fuck is this character thinking? Because it makes me attached. I don't want to, again, if I'm just sitting there like, oh yeah, that was smart. Yeah, that was smart. There's no joy out of that for me.
I like a smart character. But no, not even close to what I was talking about. I'm talking about she brings the suit to school. That's fine. We're going to get the montage where she makes the costume. Cool. One of the things is, and I'm going to bring this up to kind of prove my point why we didn't need the scene, and I think it's ridiculous. In Spider-Man 1 with Sam Raimi, one of the things a lot of people bring up is how did he make that awesome frickin' Spider-Man suit? Like, we don't know that he can sew or get the materials or do whatever, but the suit is badass, and you kind of just let it go because it's just like whatever.
Because it's comic book stuff.
Exactly. You just let it go. And I'm like, that's fine. We didn't have to watch him sew it together and figure out how it all worked. We just, whatever. He had his dorky, crappy sweatshirt one. And we're like, yeah, that makes sense. And then all of a sudden he's in the awesome cosplay one that he bought from, Party City.
Right. Yeah.
The problem here with this one is it didn't just do that. They bring the suit to the school and she uses fabric scissors and they break. So it's like, okay, they're trying to imply that this is like an indestructible type, or at least a really strong material. And then she uses a machete, like a paper machete thing, which one, bite me. That doesn't work that way. Two, it doesn't work with fabric. You can ask any girl in the world or any good seaman. Is that seamstress?
Seamstress.
What do you call a man? A seaman?
Not seaman.
Seamstress, damn it.
But then the joke is after that, they already proved that you can't like cut through it. Oh, but yeah, the sewing machines work. And it's like, don't give me that shit. Oh, it burnt out the needle. No, the needle shouldn't have penetrated. Just don't give me the scene. They did it for a joke, and it was silly.
John, I think this is another situation of semantics, and I think that the scissors breaking, I thought was just like, well, that's some cheap ass shit, because I can tell you, I've used different scissors that have fucking broke. I'm like, what the fuck kind of cheap ass shit is this?
But they're in the room with all the. It's a home ec class.
I know, but John,
machines. Those are fabric.
This is semantics. Like, I want you to know this whole conversation, the portal to the Phantom Zone has been open. You have yet to be thrown in it.
Because I don't think I'm wrong.
You have yet to be thrown in it, because I'm willing to hear about what you have to say about these things, and I understand your position. So that's why you haven't been tossed in yet.
Okay, final one. How has nobody ever touched the blue button in the car? It's horseshit. The rocket car. Are you kidding me?
If we gonna do the how come no one? Oh man, this is another semantics thing.
You just it sounds more like it's like not so much that I'm overtly seeing things. I just feel like everybody's just kind of letting it go.
I think that
that's what I think.
I think that it's semantics, John, and it's comic book stuff. And we shouldn't keep trying to go, oh, that wouldn't work that way. Oh, no, just sit back and enjoy.
I don't have those moments in Daredevil or like Luke Cage.
That's because Daredevil. Okay, but even though Daredevil is a comic book character, the difference between the difference between Daredevil and Stargirl is that Daredevil is more grounded in reality, with the exception of what Daredevil can do. Stargirl is a complete comic book show in the elements of the silliness and the ice. Who does Daredevil fight in his show? He fights Kingpin. He's a very big, strong man, but there are very big, strong men in real life. There are people that know martial arts. There are also blind martial arts masters that could move like Daredevil. So
in that case, I will take that argument on one condition. If Stargirl has nothing to do with the rest of the Arrowverse, then I will buy it.
Why?
Because the Arrowverse was started grounded with a dude on an island just shooting arrows at people.
But that changed when the Flash.
Can't have it both ways.
But John,
can't have it both ways.
To be fair, John, it changed as soon as they brought in Barry Allen.
That's fine, but it still started in grounded reality.
You're right. You're right. It did start. But that's not where it is now. It changed, just like
so. Scissors still work like scissors.
I get you, but look,
work like needles.
But in order for you to keep people interested, you have to change. Like when I was watching Smallville, I never ever would have guessed that all of a sudden, we got Bart, Barry Allen's grandson. All of a sudden, there's Cyborg. Oh shoot, there's Bizarro. Oh shoot, there's Doomsday. Oh shoot, there's the Wonder Twins. Because that whole show started as Clark's journey to becoming Superman. That was a surprise. And that's what kept us on our toes, because it's like, what are they going to do next? If you give us what we started with, that can still be good, but it's better to throw in some surprises. And in the case of Stargirl, she is specifically on Earth 2, which is what they showed us at the end of Crisis. So technically, it's not connected
into one world after Crisis. What happened?
No. Look, what happened was a lot of those, the ones that are now on Earth Prime, before they were separate. So that's why you got like Black Lightning there now when he wasn't there before, and so on.
All the superheroes are there.
No, but at the end, they also reformed the multiverse, which was said by the Spectre himself. The rest of these characters are unaware that there's a new multiverse. They just think that it's just the Earth Prime because there's a lot of people there, but it was specifically said. They don't know that yet. And after Crisis, they've been playing it up like, well, no, that can't be. There's only one Earth now, right? And yada yada. That's what you think. But eventually, it's going to be Cisco or somebody that's going to be like, guys, problem. In fact, later on, after the Crisis on Infinite Earth storyline, you had another sort of like kind of multiversal event that brought the kind of Earths together, and then that kind of broke off again. So Crisis sort of combined not only Crisis, but other storylines that come after that. So I did like the mixture, but this whole the next crossover is going to be amazing. I'm like, what does that even mean? Because you can't say that it's going to be better than Crisis, but what are you going to do? The realization that there's another multiverse, that means that there are other threats out there. That causes problems. And we have to see how all that plays out. But the fact that Earth Prime has more characters, meaning more heroes, they are now better equipped to deal with multiversal stuff because now they have different areas of talent. Right. So that's why they set that up.
I can work. Right. I can work with that. We'll see where we're in. Last one, because I'll let you guys get to the next topic because I got to pee anyway. I'm mad. Brainwave had a burning hole in the middle of his face, and the nurse in hospital said that he had a seizure. Mic drop.
Well, I mean, he did have a seizure. He just got fucked up too. Like him getting fucked up is what led to his seizure.
But then,
like he got wrecked.
Didn't the burn disappear though?
Yeah, it did.
The burn on his forehead disappeared, so she wouldn't have been able to see that. But I mean, maybe the burn caused the fucking seizure.
Exactly, like that cosmic staff. You are talking about something that can emit different forms of energy, and when you combine that with a person's DNA makeup, that can do all kinds of stuff. That can give you seizures. That can explode your heart. That can paralyze you. It can do a number of things that can lead you to a victory. So in the case of Brainwave, because he has telepathy skills, telekinesis skills, his brain is already more advanced than most people. And if you hit that with a bunch of energy, there's so many things that can happen that's bad. So I like that she said that he, like, the person that could have helped him is him, which means that unless, here's the thing. With that said, because of the nature of Dragon King, he is the member of the group that does all these crazy experiments to enhance himself and the rest of his team. So when they find out that he's there, what could happen is that they can get him and Dragon King can fix him to where that can't happen again, because that's what his character does, should they need him for whatever reason.
Gotcha.
Just like to see some alluding to it. That's all. I just feel like it's just I have to take it with a grain of salt every scene, and it's like
right. No. Okay. I get you, John. But again, remember how I stated earlier that it's going off of a certain beat path, but there could be those things like, oh shit, they did that. I didn't think that would happen. So I'm almost in a similar boat, but my boat is coupled with knowledge. So there's only so much that you can do to surprise me, is what I'm saying. But it can still happen.
I was also sad because one of my favorite scenes out of both episodes, this is easily the best scene because I thought it nailed the music. And I liked that finally a character was actually having to prove that he was a character, was Stripesy trying to work with the power fist on his car robot.
Right.
So we had an essentially really good like Johnny Cash Iron Man.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
And I go, not only is it showing that the guy is going through trials and tribulations, he's also really intelligent. He's a good inventor and knows what he's doing. He's capable, but he's still dealing with failures. He doesn't get it right the first time. He's not flipping in the middle of Central Park, riding something she just touched 5 minutes ago like it's a surfboard. But she's a gymnast. Bite me. But by the end, they didn't even give him the win, which was really unsatisfying when he's willing to go fight Brainwave at the end. It would have been nice for finally to end that scene that he actually got it right.
You know what, though? Like, I don't disagree with that, but
give
I like
man a win in this universe.
I do be smart. I like the fact that he did get wrecked because it was a definitive wreck. Like, he wasn't winning that.
I'm fine with that. I'm saying I don't like the fact that he went into the fight.
Right.
And we hadn't seen a successful run of his thing.
No. I get where you're coming from, but I think that
there's no way he was winning. But I was like, I like the fact that he was willing.
I think we're gonna get that later. We're gonna have like that beast moment of Pat where you like, because people are like, oh man, like Pat got the biggest heart, but like he don't really got the skills. But I have a feeling that he gonna do something, and then the character's gonna be like, wait, why the fuck is he whooping our asses? It should be everybody. Like, it's probably going to be something like that. But in terms of that robot, when Pat said that he created it, I'm like, that's a nice little twist because
I thought it was comics,
the car. Right? Like, here's the thing: in the comics, they got that from the Nazis. Back when the JSA were dealing with the Nazis made that. It was actually more advanced than what we're seeing right now, right? Like, I'm talking about not like Iron Man level, but enough to where if you don't have people that can shoot energy projectiles and shit, they getting crushed. That is not an easy thing to destroy. The Nazis were using that to murder people. The JSA confiscated it and used it for their team. So I did catch that when I'm like, Pat made it. That's cool. Okay.
I'm gonna put a prediction down just for the sake of funsies. I'm putting my money down that Stripesy either dies by the end of this season or definitely by the end of next season.
Whoa. If that happens, John, because you remember that scene where he was like, "You look after your mother, you look after your brother." I was like, if they kill my boy Pat, whoever is next to me is getting punched by default. I do not want to see him die that fast. So I was like, no, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't think they were going to kill him right away, and I don't think they'll kill him at the end of the season.
It'll either be this season or next season. I feel it in my bones. They need that.
Don't say that. Don't say that, John. What if they're listening and they're like, "Man, we weren't going to kill him, but that might be a good idea." I'm gonna be like, before I toss him out a window, I'm like, I got one question before I toss you out this window. Were you listening to a stream and a man named John? And then he's like, I think that was his name. It's just gonna be that.
Phantom Zone.
Terrance is gonna find you if they do that, boy.
I know, man. I'm
all right, John. Where you live, Minnesota? I'm coming for you.
Oof.
But at least I'm cool with John. Like, the human that randomly listened to the stream and heard John, like that, they don't get any sort of pass. It just be straight to the window.
Again, I watched the episodes twice a piece. I paid attention. I watched it, and then I went back and was like, okay, is it a problem? If I'm gonna come at you, I'm gonna be detailed. I can't just talk out of my butt.
And that's a good thing, because I will also be detailed in my response, and then that will equate to a good conversation.
Because I'm not messing with Dr. Lore. I'm just not gonna do it. gotta come real.
So, your first impressions on it?
I would say it's definitely middle tier CW. It's like, again, way better than Supergirl, way better than Batwoman, because Batwoman is literally probably one of the worst television shows I've ever seen in my life.
Terrible.
The production value is really solid. I think they really just need to work with character development and a little more dialogue. Like, I don't believe that any of these people like each other. The most compelling scenes have been Brainwave and his son, and which obviously he's going to manifest powers.
Yeah.
And this really feels like a really good dark version of The Descendants on like a Disney Channel. Like all the old tier villains that have kids.
I remember that. Yeah.
Because did you see the fucking pic? God, please, guys, you cannot defend this for the love of God. Did you see the new girl Wildcat? Because the loser table, I guarantee you, they're all fucking Descendants.
Well, I already know that because they showed that in the trailer. Like, now,
for real? I never saw that. I was just like, it's so on the nose.
I saw it because I saw that, and then when I went to look it up, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, because in the case of Wildcat, she actually is a character in the comic book. So I'm like, she's supposed to be there. The rest is kind of like they sort of tweak for the plot. But I'm like, when you look at these comic book characters, most of them, they're usually nerds and losers and outcasts until they get stronger. They take a serum. They join a group. The very few of them are just cool. Like, oh man, I'm so popular. Everybody loves me. Most of these characters are not like that, which is why the readers like these characters and can relate to them. Because most people are not cool. Everybody loves us. We have all this money. They're usually outcast. They have to work their way up to get respected and that sort of a thing.
But I don't feel like we even got that. Courtney doesn't do any of that. She just holds a thing and they better figure something out about that.
But she's not a popular character though. Courtney is what the humans would call awkward in certain conversations. Like she doesn't really know how to conduct herself. But when she actually talks to you, if you give her a chance, you can see that she has a good heart. I saw that when she was talking to Pat. Like, because to me, when Pat and Courtney are interacting, you're like, oh, she definitely loves him and he loves her and stuff. And they want to do right by each other. He's just trying to protect her, so on and so on. But with Brainwave and his son, I do believe that he loves his son, but he's also a villain. So to me, I look at that more as being just like, that is so fucking creepy and shit. Like, he'd just be at his desk, he'd be like, son. And then son come in and he'd just be looking at him and shit like,
it's because he wants to see if his powers have manifested.
I know his son gets powers later on in the comics, but
I'm saying you can tell from the character that's all he cares about. He wants to see if his son is going to manifest powers. He keeps asking him weird little.
I get that, and that's an Easter egg because his son does get powers. I get why they're doing it. Well, he does. Like,
just say spoilers.
Hey, you still gotta watch it to see what happens.
Yeah. But again, it's all about execution too. Like, that's
right. But in terms of that though, there's still an inherent creepiness just with the Brainwave character. Like, he is very villain-like. Every time
he looks like he looks like a really disheveled Dr. Horrible. He looks like Neil Patrick Harrison,
right? And to solidify that,
Conan O'Brien.
to solidify that point, whenever you see him around other people, that's when he really fucking sticks out. You're like, look at his posture. Look at the way he moves. Look at the way he talks. No one else is like that.
Because he's the smartest man in the room. He knows every piece of information ever if he wants it.
Right, but aside from what he can do, he still has a certain demeanor about him.
Oh yeah,
the hands behind the back and shit when he's walking. Like if I were to just randomly come into a room, especially with the stuff that I've been trained with and exposed to, I'd be like, that dude is different. I'm not necessarily going to say he's a problem, but if something pops off, I'm picturing that he either has something to do with it or he's going to know how to handle himself better than everybody else. That's what I would think.
Like, even the way he said hi on the computer, it just looks like so creepy. Like, I'd be like, who the fuck is that guy?
You know right, the way he said it, you're right, Jason. The way he turned around and said hello, I added dialogue in there. It's like he turned around like, you know I can fuck your shit up, right?
Yeah, you know.
Can they figure something out about the staff? The fact that the damn thing can glow, I don't buy for a minute. Nothing stealthy will ever happen when you have a gigantic glow stick.
Oh no, you're right, John. There is no stealth. When she blew up
the car at the drive-in, I wanted to hang the noose. I'm like, how is no one seeing this?
John, there is no stealth. You're right. Look, in the comics, even still, like when whether it's Starman or Stargirl, they know when they're around because you will see a bright ass light. But the thing too, that's a problem for the wielder that a lot of people don't know about, is because if that gets too bright, it will destroy your eyesight, including the user. Unless you have powers that can protect your eyes, you will never see again unless you get somebody to magically restore your eyesight. That's how powerful that shit is.
Talk about an awesome episode they could do. They did something like that with Flash where Dr. Light like blasted him and he couldn't see for like a whole episode. That would be a dope like 2-episode arc where she has to go like the fuzzy.
That's a good mention, John, but imagine that but permanent.
Dope. I'm saying like it would be a cool arc to like, so she actually finally like, you know, like has a failure with the step, like her like training with it and like does something crazy and it's like a 2-episode arc. That would be really interesting, especially a girl in high school.
Oh yeah. No, I agree. And they probably will do that because not only does it destroy your eyesight, But from what I've read and seen, it's like stupid painful for a long period of time. I'm talking about you just screaming out loud like fuck.
That'd be interesting. I think that'd be a cool episode.
Has that happened to someone in the comics?
Yeah, the villains.
Oh, damn.
I mean, the Wilder, though. Has it happened to any?
The Wilder, it happened a few times to Starman. It happened once to Stargirl. They weren't like permanently blinded, but it was like they're fighting the various villains, and what you have is a moment when they're trying to use the energy that's within the cosmic staff as a projection, and they forget to control the brightness, and they damage themselves in the process. It's like, oh shit. And it does depend on how close the staff is to your face, but at the same time, like you can have it at a reasonable distance, and if it's timed wrong, your eyesight is done. You're done.
That would be interesting. I just think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I gave your guys 90 minutes on this, so we are done.
It was interesting, and the fact that you guys talk so glowingly of it, I'm like, I just got to figure out what your opinions are on these things. I needed to know.
I'm telling you, Danny gonna do the icicle thing and throw like the ice shot through our chest one day. He gonna be like, look, Terrance, I'm tired of this shit.
But I'm not.
If I had the power to reach out and touch y'all, just give you a little focus, I would.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
I got you. Next time.
Yeah, Danny gonna throw me in there one day. He gonna open it up like, man, Terrance, I've been thinking a lot. I'm like, what about Danny? He's just like, get your ass in there. He gonna lock it real quick.
I'm gonna shake your hand and like Goku throw nap up. No, Danny,
right.
don't do
it. Yep. That's definitely what I pictured, Danny.
Next topic is gonna be Zack Snyder.
No.
I just want to say this. We put this out. I don't want nobody saying, what the hell? I am not a Zack Snyder hater. I am not a DC hater. I really and truly, from the bottom of my heart, Zack Snyder cut to be awesome. If it even surpasses Endgame, I won't give a damn. I want it to be successful. By saying all that, I'm going to say this. Zack Snyder is not the second coming. Some people are acting like he's the second coming that, oh my God.
They drank that Kool-Aid years ago.
Or whatever. I hope that is good. But my big question is, what if it's not? What if it sucks?
Zack Snyder fans will love it, and they'll say it's better than anything that's ever come out ever.
Okay. I remember I got into this briefly with you, Danny, and I think that, look, there are a lot of DC haters, but I do believe that everyone and their grandma is going to watch this because they're going to be too curious not to. It's either going to be with the intention of, I'm about to rip this apart because it's going to be a piece of shit, or you're going to have the people that are like, I'm legitimately excited for this. So you're going to get a lot of
YouTube videos. Don't forget about those.
That's all part of it, John. So you will have different perspectives coming at this. Now, if it's not good,
or a Marvel fanboy, I'm a comic book movie fanboy.
Danny, I know you. I'm not talking about anyone on this panel. It's just there are those humans out there. So because of that, I think if it's bad, okay, well, a lot of people are already like, it ain't gonna be that bad. Who cares? The Snyder Cut is a fail anyway, but it'll never come out. You already have that, so it doesn't matter. But if it's good, then I think that will matter, because no one is expecting it to be good. Like, sure, you have supporters of Zack Snyder. I appreciate Zack Snyder. I like how creative he is and what good can happen when it's executed right. And I do like his visual perspective on these characters. That's cool. So I'm like, look, Zach, you do what you got to do, because you can't, there's nothing to lose at this point, because the DCEU is still moving forward with the projects that they have. They're waiting on the COVID-19 stuff to sort of get better, and then they're going to go right into filming that stuff. So if it fails, no problem. They already have their plans. But if it succeeds, you can then incorporate a few of those elements into future movies for whatever reason.
They are pumping $20 million into this recut, though. Don't forget about
that. They are.
No, they're not. I heard the figures more like 70.
Wow,
70 million?
Really?
No, no. The highest I heard was 30 million.
I heard 20. I haven't heard any more than that. I mean, I get marketing, but like
I've heard 70.
Okay,
wow.
like Danny, I'm not even saying you didn't hear that. I only heard 20 to 30 million. But look, regardless of how much money it is, I know that we're getting a dark side. Zack Snyder already showed the actor and all this stuff, so he's going to be in there. You know, the possibility of Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, all this stuff, like the possibility of good is overwhelming versus it's just, it's guaranteed to suck in this and that. I'm like, no, it seems like I'm very comfortable. I'm like, look, it's not so much I'm expecting it to be good, but I'm expecting it to be better than the other Justice League movie, even though I did like that. It's not what it should have been. Like, it has moments, but overall, it's not like the best superhero movie. And it should be because it's the Justice League. That should be the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's not.
There's no build up. We didn't care about any of the characters, so it didn't matter.
It's not just that. It's not just that. It's because the approach was sloppy. Because if you ask me, if I were in charge, I would have came out with a Justice League movie right off the bat and delivered a masterpiece. And then from there, I would branch off and do other things because the strength of the brand is there. These are not Marvel characters where you have to do movies to build them up and all that kind of stuff. These characters are known. My auntie, she knows Aquaman and Green Lantern before she knew a Rocket Raccoon or a fucking Iron Man. She doesn't know everything.
But why did Rocket live and everybody else died? Because people connected with Rocket.
That's true, Rocket. But that's very true, John. But they had to make people care about him. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of the Justice League, I just picture that we're going to get some good stuff. But again, if it doesn't work out that way, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be mad. It would be more of I'd be like a little bummed out, like, man, this would have been the chance to really just stick it to people that already expect you to fail. It'd be more of a missed opportunity is what I would say.
I guess I'll be the broken record that I've been for the last couple of months because this has come up on multiple streams and stuff, and this is pretty much how I look at it. It will 100% be better than what we got initially because Joss Whedon gets a lot of hate for that, but it's like, man, what were you gonna do? You're gonna show up into this mess. Your director, who's been the visionary guy, running kind of the tone for the universe, has a very, very tragic thing happen in his family, and he's got to step away. You come in and then are asked to like kind of mess with some of the tone and make it a little bit more Marvel-y. It's kind of like what they were kind of doing with Suicide Squad a little bit. So when you watch that film, you can see the tonal difference. Like even in the same scene, you see like lighting changes and costumes look different.
Yeah, right. I knew exactly what was Zach and Josh Whedon.
Yeah, it looked like you could almost see the duct tape, you know,
yes,
as
correct.
it was on.
Yeah.
And what I will say about Zack Snyder, and I have no problem saying he's a one-trick pony hack. He's pretty close to what Michael Bay has become. Because I was very early Michael Bay fan. Love Bad Boys 1 and 2. Armageddon's like still my like favorite disaster film ever. That being said, Watchmen really set this tone. I mean, everybody remembers 300, but when it comes to visionary striking, everybody goes to Watchmen. And kind of ever since, kind of everything feels like that. Even Sucker Punch has that element. There's just no real story unless it's already been given to him. So you kind of thought maybe the DC would work because he's got the adaptation part to it. And just kind of like, you know, comic books are just already pre-made storyboards. Like, just do it. That's what we want. But, you know, he goes in, makes the brooding Superman. Some people love it. Some people hate it. You have Batman v Superman. Again, another very divisive film. And now you have Justice League, which is a jumbled mess. Now you're telling me that this guy, who rumors are he's been kind of tinkering with it behind the scenes for years because he kind of knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
you're going to pump extra money into his pocket and go, we're going to just let you do whatever you want. They're not going to talk about limitations.
Who are you referring
to? Zack Snyder.
Zach. I mean, but you heard what Zach said during his his Man of Steel watch party. He said when one of the fans was like, "How come you didn't release it?" He's like, "If it were up to me, you would have already gotten it."
Oh, I'm sure. But see now, that could be a nice little ploy or a nice thing to say, because now he gets the money to polish up, get new special effects if he wants it. And the thing is there's not going to be a time limit. There are already rumors that it can be 4 hours and they're going to do a miniseries versus like a 3-hour movie.
Well, yeah, he said that he had 3 movies planned. Okay, 3. So
and he's kind of pretentious.
and one of them, like whether it was part 1, 2, or 3, whatever it was, one of them was longer than Endgame. So you factor that one is longer than Endgame, plus you got 2 other movies that are supposed to be 2 hours. I'm like, that is way, way more material than Endgame. I'm like, you're talking about other characters could show up. I'm assuming that it's going to end with a whole bunch of people fighting Darkseid, kind of like what we got in Justice.
What I heard is that Batman supposed to die in this. I don't want to see that.
Sure, but my thing is there will get that out of your head. I might eat crow in 5 years. I might eat crow.
What you say is though?
But you're not going to get. You're not going to get a continuation when this is over. You're not getting it. This is the swan song. You're getting what you're getting. I'm fine if it's 5 hours and it's like a mini series, because that at least gives you time to see a cyborg introduction.
I'm fine if it's 5 hours on streaming. I ain't trying to see no 5 hours.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and they're not going to put this in. They're not going to put this in theaters.
Well, here's the thing, though.
Because there might not be theaters to put them in.
In terms of Henry Cavill,
kind of money not to get it back. I don't think I can get that money back in the streaming service.
But because you could get people to buy the subscription.
It's not about money. This project is not about. No.
Their studio is giving him $20 million.
It's always about
kind of return on their money.
Yeah. Technically, but what I mean is, this is not a theater project. This is specifically for the streaming service. They're like, look, their hashtag release the Snyder Cut has built up momentum. It went from people like being told that they're stupid for thinking that it's ever going to come out, and then Warner Brothers picked up on it and put it in the Harley Quinn show, where you had a character with that shirt clowning those people
real well, didn't it?
and the funny thing about that is that a lot of humans use that as like, see, Warner Brothers thinks you guys are fucking stupid, but as it turned out, that was just to prepare us. And then when you couple that with everything that Zack Snyder has been saying, I'm like, all of that is no longer rumors. That's true. It's just that we didn't have any sort of real solid ground, but it's just like everything he was saying about Darkseid, that he had a whole bunch of ideas. He wanted to make it 3 hours, and then that'd be more than 6 hours. And then now we're getting more information to help solidify those claims.
Which is not a good thing. Which is not necessarily a good thing.
Okay, we don't know if it's good or bad, but what I truly believe, without any doubt, is that it's gonna be better. How much better, I don't know. But for the sake of DC fandom, I want it to be a home run, because I know that those fucking humans are out there. They waiting. They like staring at HBO Max right now. They're like, yes, it's like 200 some odd days left before we can rip this shit apart. And I want to see their stupid faces when that shit turns out to be amazing. And then what kind of shit they would have to say. That's what I want.
My question is, what'll happen if it sucks?
Well, yeah, like what I said, I think
they'll say it's good anyway, and it'll be Batman v Superman all over again.
No. Like you will have some humans that like it. If it is truly bad, in the sense of that is the overwhelming opinion of it, then sure, it's just going to go back to the whole like, yep, see, we knew it. DC failed again. You're more or less going to get what you have before, except there will be a little bit more laughter, because they're like, see, you guys waited all this time and then you got it, and it's a pile of shit. So it'd be like extra things to rub in the fans of DC.
I want it to be better than the one we got, but I think people need to be realistic.
I want to get this on the record.
It's going to be.
We all think and want it to be better than the first one, correct?
Well, it's going to be a coherent vision. You're going to give a guy extra money, unlimited time, essentially, and he gets to do whatever he wants. And when you do that, this is good for two.
Should not be a failure.
No,
and see, this is what I brought up with the bullshit on Twitter, because anybody who lives in that little cesspool knows what I'm about to bring up. You have two different modes of thinking. One, you're giving into the toxic fans. How bad is this? We're going to get director cut this and director cut that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, is that necessarily a bad thing? I think not. And let me explain why. Because the deal is Sonic did good because they listened to people. And they're like, well, toxic fans, maybe, I don't know. You have the biggest like fandom thing on the internet. Listen to them. Get some guidelines. Figure out if you're going in the right direction.
Did you say Sonic?
Yes.
Okay. But for me, John, with Sonic, okay, when I saw that trailer, John, I saw Sonic. I'm like, well, like I get that it's him. I didn't have like a huge problem with his appearance, but my focus point was the film, right? Like I thought it.
Oh, the movie's mediocre. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm talking about.
I'm just saying my perspective. I thought it looked bad, and then they fixed Sonic. Like in terms, I'm like, now that looks like Sonic, but I still had that same problem of what I thought. I thought it looked bad, but then I watched it and I'm like, oh shit, I actually enjoyed this.
Well, especially when that second trailer came out, it's not playing Gangster's Paradise. It looks like the character. The cartoony aspect made more sense. You're not trying to make it as realistic, and I think when you listen to fans, they'll point you in the right direction. Do you have to listen to them all the time? No, absolutely not. But the thing is, we know that studio meddling is a huge problem with a lot of films. They're getting dates that we know they can't hit. We know that's why Black Panther's CGI sucked, because they had to make rhinos and CGI fights while they were working on Infinity War and had like a month to do it. That's what hinders people. And they're like, no, we need more characters. That's why Spider-Man 3 doesn't work. It's why Amazing Spider-Man 2 doesn't work.
That's why I've always said that, sure, the studios want to make money. I understand that. That's something that goes without saying. However, when you hire someone to be in charge of something, aside from their talent in terms of making a film, they should have passion, because with that passion, you will get a better project versus just something that makes money because of the name.
But even if you're hiring him for the name or the aesthetic, that's fine. You hired him for a reason. Let him finish it. If you have a problem with it, sorry, you take the L. You hired him. The problem is you're not seeing that a lot. That's why Endgame started to have a problem. That's why you're seeing you're seeing things being made more. They're a product, not a movie. And
that's true. And in Zack Snyder's case, like if I could talk to him about, look, visually, I feel like I would want you by my side. Now, when it comes to writing, I would really suggest that you listen to me, because if you couple his great visual elements with great writing, I think that you really do get like a masterpiece sort of material.
Yeah.
So I want it to be like an all around thing, to where there is no area for these humans that I know are waiting with their pitchforks to tear it apart. I don't want a single area that they can do that.
Well, and in the long craziness that I was saying is that Zack Snyder's going to have a coherent cut. It's his stuff. It's his vision. He's going to cut it the way he wanted it to be cut. Will it be a little long and pretentious? Yes, because it's absolutely his style. And a movie that was 3 hours is going to be 6 hours because of all the slow-mo. But then you have stuff like the release the David Ayer cut for Suicide Squad. And people are like, no, don't do it. This is insane. I thought Suicide Squad was shit. It was pretty awful. I understand why it would be interesting to see that cut, because for all the cinema nerds that know all the news and stuff, it is very infamously known for being cut by a trailer house. There's literally a scene where they have a black background with black text on it. That is inept, basic level crap of editing.
And what
now
the
imagine David Ayer cutting it with a narrative house. It's gonna be better.
But here's the thing, because I'm a huge DC fan, naturally I would watch that. But my enthusiasm for it is not as high as the Justice League Snyder cut, because with Suicide Squad, I got the theatrical cut, I got the extended cut. So this is just another cut of what we already got compared to Justice League. I'm like, with Zack Snyder's vision, that's an entirely different film. I'll give you an example. The scene in Justice League where you had the team bring back Superman, that's not how that was supposed to be. It was actually supposed to be Steppenwolf and Darkseid to bring back Superman, to use him to take out the Justice League while they implemented their plans of fucking up the rest of the planet. And then they win Superman over, and then it's the dun, 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 it's like that Beast Mode one, and then they go fuck up Darkseid and Steppenwolf together. However, Steppenwolf is not going to be there because that whole mother, that's because his mother was trapped in the mother boxes. She has a certain amount of power that Steppenwolf was supposed to steal and use that to try to overthrow Darkseid. Darkseid whoops his ass and kills him, and the Justice League just have to deal with Darkseid. That is an entirely different movie. I'm like, they fucked that shit up.
But like I'm saying,
I'm not mad at the one with the.
Did you hear like they were saying how Suicide Squad was supposed to be a prequel to the Justice League? So I heard that they're supposed to have Steppenwolf in Suicide Squad and show some shit. If that's true, then I don't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
You're right, Jason. I wouldn't mind either. You know,
it would just be nice to see the director do his thing. And we had a podcast the other week where somebody called director's cuts kind of gimmicky and bullshit. And I go, sometimes, because you get like 5 minutes and it doesn't really do anything. But like a Blade Runner cut is way different. The extended Lord of the Rings cut is 100% different.
John, should I mention too, because you said Blade Runner, that has many different cuts.
And I've seen it has three, I think.
And to me,
and Superman 2, the Donner cut, the original cut, and then there's like a mixing cut. Yeah,
with Blade Runner, there's literally different footage in each one. I don't know if I've seen four,
and one has a narration, and one has a narration over.
I must have seen 4 different cuts, but how many ever I've seen, I like them all for different reasons.
Exactly,
and it still kind of felt like this great experience to me that I was watching it.
So I don't understand why. I don't see why it's not right now. I can kind of understand why you would do it, especially with not a lot of stuff coming out now because of the way that the theaters are with the pandemic and stuff. You can say we're kind of dry for new material, even though we have streaming, like 20 different streaming services with 900 things nobody's finished watching yet.
Exactly. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if studios still want to pump stuff out, this is the best time to try this stuff. This could be really new and innovative. If you don't have to release 9 different cuts to the theaters, why not do the let the director make his vision, let the studio do theirs. Now we get to see, maybe this could be a really good resurgence to where we go back to stop meddling with the person's vision.
If this is successful, all this is going to do is create a money-grabbing situation.
Oh, absolutely. It'll create a trend for a minute.
It'll be like, oh, let's get the Danny Graham
and Danny, I think
Danny Graham cut.
You're I think you're 100% right. I think you're 100% right, Danny. I agree 100%. However, I think regardless of the trend that it might do, Danny, that you, me, John, anyone else, like, we're gonna know that, okay, this is nothing of substance. Like when the Snyder cut came out, let's just assume that it is good and all this stuff. We're just like, we got something that we've waited for a long time and it's good. These other studios are just like, hey, we got one more scene. Come and see how Bumblebee got his ice cream cone or something like that.
Well, this is gonna roll over. We should have talked. We're gonna roll over to it. Another rumor that's flying out there too is that J.J. Abrams is about to stick his hand in the cookie jar. And I don't know if that's a good thing because not so much with Star Trek, because I'm a big Trekkie fan. I like the Star Trek fans, but he has kind of decimated
2 franchises.
Star Wars, boy. People want his head now.
Oh yeah, he's awful.
I don't want
him. He doesn't finish anything.
I don't want him to be the director of Man of Steel 2.
I don't
Danny, he doesn't finish anything. Look, if I'm in the studio and J.J. Abrams comes in, he's like, Terrance, I want to tackle the JSA. I'm like, look, if I agree to this, when you come in, you have to finish it. There's none of this. You're gonna come in and people like, yay, JSA, and you're like, oh, I'm not coming back ever again. And then somebody else comes in and fucks it. I'm like, no, you sign up for these 3 movies. And then after that, then you can step away. But you don't get to come in and walk away because you have a problem with finishing what you started, which then it becomes this incoherent mess because it just don't do that shit. So with him, that's the only thing that concerns me is that he will come in and he will do a dope Superman and then he's just going to fall away from it. And then it's going to just go downhill from there. I don't want that.
When is that going to catch up with him? It seems like right now he has the Midas touch. J.J. Abrams, oh yeah, let's get him.
But it's because the guy can revitalize. The problem is he can't finish. He'll get you in the theater, but there is no longevity.
Superman doesn't need to be revitalized.
That's what I said. Yeah,
it's not Superman does not need to be revitalized now.
He needs a good writer.
Look. In the studio's eyes, he probably does.
And the thing that Abrams was going to do is Justice League Dark, which I'm like, him, Snyder, Michael Bay, all these people are very good cinematographers. Abrams is a good director because people like him on set. He would work really good with these ensemble casts. The dude has no business writing or being part of the creative elements of any of that stuff because he can't handle it.
When it comes to Superman, like if they tell me, okay, we're doing this shared universe, I don't care what you do. Superman should always be a priority. He needs to be there. You need to set him up. People should love Superman. They should want to cheer for him. He's not the character where you don't do him for like 5 years or he just only pops up in a 5-second cameo. You do not reduce the greatest superhero to a side piece. You don't do that. He's not a random character. He's Superman. It's the same thing.
I'm not mad at him going and cameoing on different projects if the end game is going to be his own project.
Right. Like I don't mind cameo.
I wouldn't mind seeing him being a mentor to Shazam.
Right.
I wouldn't mind seeing him take on Black Adam.
No, you're right, Danny. And like I want to see that, but all I'm saying is don't only reduce him to that. Like you can use him because he does help Shazam and so does Wonder Woman in the comics. So that's legit. And he does fight Black Adam. That's also in the comics. However, when you use him for cameos, you still need to make sure that he has his own movies. He should not just be, hey, I'm here, now I'm gone. Hey, I'm here. Like, don't do that to my boy. Don't make him like how they do him in Supergirl. He does that in Supergirl. What does he do in Supergirl? He shows up and then he's gone. I'm like, no, you need to give him
his own show. And
that's because the show is Supergirl, not Superman.
That's true, but that version of Superman is trash. So like I'm not.
So here, how about this? Because one thing, anybody who says you can't write Superman, you can go fuck yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go watch one. The comics have been around for 60 years. Second, go watch One Punch Man. Great anime. It's essentially Superman, a guy who can kill anything in one punch. There you go. Second or third, even A, B, C, D. I don't know. I can't count. Could you argue if we really are going to deal with the internet bullshit and say that Henry Cavill could potentially make a run? Why not, though, go backwards? We like Shazam. He could come in, do a couple of cameos. He's weak against magic, so he doesn't need to be the most powerful guy in the film. He just comes, kind of helps out. You get to learn some weaknesses. And then he just does a lot of like buddy cop films like Thor Ragnarok.
Now see, that is the opportunity right there because Black Adam and
because he's essentially Hulk of DC.
Well, he's way more powerful than that.
But you know what I mean. It's like, what do you do?
I get what you mean, but but it's like Superman be cheating. He just already is what he needs to be. He doesn't need to get mad. He's hacked. That's the nature of his character. But in terms of Superman, when he's dealing with Shazam, because he's fought him before when they've gotten their disagreements, and he's also fought Black Adam. So these characters are not only magic savvy, but they have enough strength to where not only can they fight him, but they can knock him out. So the average person, they only know, oh, he's weaker to magic because they heard it from somebody else. But it's not as simple as that because it's more of an irritation. Like for me, I have an allergy to grass. Specifically, when I cut it, like it'll make me sneeze, and then I'm fine. That's pretty much what magic is to Superman. It doesn't make it to where he goes into a fetal position and he can't fight. It's just an inconvenience. So when he's fighting Black Adam, he's going to be irritated and off balance. His equilibrium's not going to be right, but he still will be able to fight him. But then that's where Shazam will come in, and they will have to work together to beat Black Adam.
The difference in Black Adam and Shazam is that their power is derived from magic. Even some magic, but not considered, in my opinion, a wizard like Dr. Fate or Zatanna or Doctor
I wanted
Strange.
Zatanna so bad.
You're right. Yeah,
a true magical person, a wizard, I think would give Superman a fit.
Oh yeah, that has happened. Like DC, like that. This is what I keep telling people. Superman has been beaten before. He's been knocked out. That's not that special to do that to him. Now to kill him, to destroy, rape my boy is a whole different discussion. But these magical characters have definitely.
That last Justice League Darkseid could have killed Superman anytime he wanted to.
Or watch
that's true, and he has. But
game.
That's
a great story.
Danny, Darkseid has definitely wrecked Superman many times, and Superman vice versa. But
he took over Supergirl, and
and he also wrecked Supergirl. Like these characters have been wrecked. It's like, okay, with a character that's purely magical based, you can do things like trap him in illusions. You can knock him out because he's weakened, and you could catch him by surprise because it's magic. Like maybe he can't get to you fast enough because you've already put him in a different dimension. So that can be problematic. And you want to show that to people. Like, what happens when this beast mode dude is dealing with a magician? Okay, like what can they do? What they can do is prevent him from killing them as quickly. But he's gonna figure out a way around that, as is the nature of the story.
Picture this. You remember the Super Friends cartoons coming in the 80s?
Mhm.
There was a magician that took Superman powers, about to get it, but the penguin jumped in the way and absorbed Superman's powers.
Right.
Superman was just like us, except that I think he got some kind of suit or something.
Right.
I'm saying all that to say this. Whenever somebody comes to rival Superman, and these writers will pull some kind of special power or something out their ass to make Superman, okay, oh man, if he touched this sun right here and looks to the left 3 degrees, it'll increase his strength. I don't understand that. Every time somebody catches up with Superman or shows you clearly by the rules they had in place, his ass can be beat.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. But here's the thing: like whenever I have read Superman comic books, even as a kid, what I notice is that okay, not only is he the ultimate hero, everybody aspires to be him. They've made museums about this guy, schools, and all that kind of stuff. So the reason why he is so respected in the DC universe amongst those characters is because this man has been beaten, locked up, power stripped, and everything, but he still continues to fight, and he will find a way, assuming that you don't just kill him right away kind of stuff if you're that powerful. So what I've enjoyed about him is that despite how powerful he is, he has a lot of weaknesses because he's too human-like. He makes a lot of mistakes. He holds back. Sometimes he gets very depressed or he gets angry. When he's angry, that's fucking terrifying. Superman, when I be reading about him upset, I'm like, oh God, is Lois around? Can anybody talk to my boy? Because if not, everybody else is dead. And it's because all these different things is what makes him interesting. Because someone that says as John mentioned, you can't write for him. Yes, you can. Like you have humans that say stuff like this. I can't relate to Superman. Yes, you can.
It's just because you don't have an imagination.
Right. It's partly that, but it's also because they're not taking things in consideration. Specifically, they're like, well, I can't leap tall buildings. I can't raise a car with my pinky. I'm like, you're not focusing on the most important thing. This guy was raised by humans, which means that he has emotions.
In Superman, Kansas.
Yeah, and that is what makes him lose most of the time. Like you're talking about a dude that feels everything that humans have felt. And for a human to tell me that they can't relate to sadness, happiness, depression, love, all that Terrance, stuff, that makes no sense.
Let me set the stage here for some people in the chat. You're Superman or Supergirl for the females. Don't want to exclude. You can fly. You can lift anything in the universe. You're faster than the blink of an eye. You are indestructible. You are the perfect anything. You've never lost a fight. You are perfect X-ray vision, anything.
Right.
Your human parents, you're not human, but they raised you. Didn't care about what you were, how you showed up. They raised you your entire life.
Right.
You can do anything. And then your mom or dad comes home and says they have cancer. Now what?
Exactly.
Can't do anything. I love seeing him having to deal with something that he is incapable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the human empathy shows up.
Exactly.
You can write that.
That brings me to a very powerful Shazam story. This dude was supposed to go out and fight some villains, but he was also supposed to go see a kid that had cancer. Instead of him going to fight the bad guys, he stayed with the child in the hospital. He watched him die, and he could not save him. He couldn't save him. And when he died, Shazam kind of damaged the hospital because he got pissed and shit. But then he used that to go wreck those fucking villains. But just like Shazam and Superman, it's like they can't do everything, even though they can do many things. And human beings being vastly more limited, they also can't do everything. Like if I'm equipped to put out fires and somebody needs medical care, I can't help them. That's not a fire. What am I going to do?
I will say for the Snyder Cut in the Man of Steel, honestly, I think it was Man of Steel. Honestly, the only part I really liked, other than like visually, like when he takes his first flight, it's cool. It's a little over dramatic, but I like it a lot. The idea, it's like, you're an alien, you're dangerous, we don't know you. And he's like, I was raised in Kansas. It was one of the coolest moments in the film for me, because I was like, this is who Superman is. He's a guy who can do anything, playing at being normal.
And the fact that him being a Kryptonian, from everything that I've read, he's better than any fucking human on that planet, because this dude is like
one heart. You can have it's just like what Captain America dealt with in his first movie. It didn't matter about, we didn't know that we were looking not just for the strongest, fastest. We were looking for the best person. And when Steve Rogers jumps on a grenade, it's like, we weren't looking for somebody who was the best. We were looking for somebody who was deserving.
And that is exactly why the other experiments did not work the way they wanted. That's why you got Red Skull. Yep. I mean, sure, you got like people like Luke Cage and stuff derived from different things, or you have someone like the Red Guardian, the Russian version of Captain America. But Steve Rogers, who he is at his core, is why he turned out like that. It had to be the perfect combination. Because it's
the same thing like the Hulk.
Sure.
Like
I mean, you can.
Right. Yeah.
No, but the Hulk will never kill because David Banner will never kill.
Right.
Like the Abomination.
Or even just like, or even with Hulk, it's a smidge different, because he's the kind of guy who has to, it's almost like a really bad hangover. Like you got blackout drunk, you wake up the next day and you hope, you hope for the best, because he has to learn to reconcile the things that he did that he wasn't in control of. That's a very difficult thing to deal with.
The scene, I remember when I went to see Captain America, the First Avenger with my friends.
And totally slept on film, by the way, I think.
To me too. I
was bored.
Yeah. How dare you? Go watch The Rocketeer. It was our generation's Rocketeer.
When I was watching that, a scene that stuck out to me was when you see him he's in the military, and he's doing his exercise, he's doing the jumping jacks and stuff like that. And Tommy Lee Jones's character goes, well, that's having heart is not enough. You got to have guts. He throws a dummy grenade. Those humans run like bitches. And skinny, asthmatic Steve Rogers jumped on it.
Hey, get away!
Right, get away. And then at that point, the doctor was like, you were saying, motherfucker? And then he was just like, oh, he's still skinny because he had nothing else to say. But it's like
that's straight up script. Because anybody realize shit.
Also, don't forget that was just a couple of scenes after he showed that he was more clever than everybody by making the flagpole fall.
Exactly. I'm like, you're smarter. You have more heart, and you're a beast. I'm like, look, I don't care what kind of gun you have, how many muscles you have. If you're a bitch, I don't want you on my team. I will pick the skinniest asthmatic dude because I can alter his body. But what I can't do is give you heart. You can't teach somebody heart. You got to just have it or you don't.
After we defeat your team, Terrance, I will tell you that same thing.
Boom. Boom.
So
I'll be there. If somebody can run, they would have run fast enough, but you got that skinny ass asthmatic freaking Hercules back here. So we're gonna go ahead and go ahead and take the gold medal. Thank you very much. Terrance,
I get what you're saying, but it's just I get what you're saying, but it's just in this situation. I'm talking about this situation.
I'm messing with you. I know
but you know, Danny, that to me, man, like if you're gonna be a hero, man, you have to be so much more. And Superman is just he's everything. Like he's one of the few heroes, because Batman is my favorite, but like Superman is one of the few where like he really just he makes me smile when I read his stuff. You know, just because of everything that he's able to do.
All these fans
I like a little optimism. I don't know, man.
And look, Henry Cavill. The problem that a lot of people have with Man of Steel is they don't analyze that movie properly. They're like, this is not my Superman, and I'm like, you're failing to understand that he was not Superman yet. In that same movie, he just barely learned how to fly. Barely. And okay, look,
you gotta compare now.
Look, how would a human respond? You were talking about number one, he lost his dad. He was barely learning how to fly, and who the hell did he have to fight? Zod and his two generals. He had no prep, no time. He had no time to relax. You want to talk about some fucked up shit? Like, and then he got to fight fucking Doomsday. Like it's just
because
like, and then he has to
willing to buy that. Like,
but again,
so after his dad died, the world went on pause. Like, he didn't do anything.
By the time we get to Justice League, he has had so much experience to where when he can be the Superman that people love, but that's a progression. He doesn't start like that.
Because if you go back to the old Christopher Reeve,
the movie
when he first made the Fortress of Solitude, when he threw that down, he stayed in that sucker for like what, 15 years? So they taught him everything he needed to know.
Yeah, but what about that great scene in that old film when he blocks the bullet from Lois and then he still acts like he passed out? Like, we don't get that character back and forth. We don't get the dichotomy.
I love that you mentioned that scene, John, because that is a perfect example to solidify what I said. The Christopher Reeve one, in that moment, he was already Superman. Henry Cavill's Superman was not that yet. Nowhere near that. This dude was unsure. And he was scared. This dude was scared. Like, do you remember the scenes where he was talking to his dad? How fucking terrible. What do I do?
That's right. Henry Cavill Superman is basically just like Stargirl behind me.
But wouldn't he have like he's like 30? He looks like he's 30 in the film.
Okay. But
growing up with all those ideals from the Midwest, though.
But you cannot
not listen.
You cannot ignore the fact that he was hiding. He was hiding.
Who's yelling at me? Who's yelling at me first?
Okay. Well, we're not really, John. We're not really yelling. It's just
Well, you know what I mean. Right? Like, who's gonna put me in my place first?
Okay, John.
Host. Let host first.
If you were getting bit by a radioactive spider, you think you could go and climb the walls and spin the webs the first time out?
That's a false equivalence because he got the powers overnight. Superman. The movie even showed he got the powers when he was a kid, and his dad was starting to teach him morality and
no.
Because it would show what he could do.
No. You are talking about someone that had powers. He had the guidance of his parents, but then when the dad, passed away and all that stuff, and he was in a situation where he was panicking. Why didn't he save him? Because he's panicking. He was exhibiting human behavior. And then he went into hiding. This dude was denying who he was for years. You have to come into your own.
Wait, what movie are we talking about now?
We're talking about Man of Steel. Man of Steel.
You didn't go into hiding in Man of Steel?
He was on a boat. He was avoiding his destiny. That was the whole point of that scene.
He was out there on that oil tanker working.
Yep.
Exactly.
I thought that was
the oil tanker.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking Batman v Superman too. But still, the false equivalence to Spider-Man still holds. He had the powers, and his dad told him not to save anybody on the school bus because you don't want to get outed. And first of all, oh man, when it comes to Clark and Martha Kent, so does not feel like those kind of people. Sure. But
okay.
But then he just doesn't like
that. Goes back to my point. That goes back to my point of conflict. When you are told by people that you love that you should not do certain things, but there's something inside of you telling you that you should, you have that classic internal conflict, which is why he was on the boat. He was trying to be like, oh, well, my dad said I can't, but I want to save these people. And then when that shit blew up, he saved those humans. He's like,
and then he destroyed somebody's car for being a dick to him.
Okay, but here's the thing, though.
I don't know, man. I don't get that.
But again, okay, but destroying someone's car is no different than what a human would do to get back at somebody else. They do stuff like that. They don't pick up the car in the air and do it, but they'll find ways to get back at the human.
But then don't talk about comic books, because this is not a comic book Superman. This is not Mr. Boy Scout.
It's a journey. It's a journey for him to get there.
He never gets there.
He got there in Justice League. He got there in Justice League.
No, he didn't. They just made him a good person because Lois talked to him. He almost killed her.
But even at the beginning of the film, like that whole, hey, can we get a picture with you? And he had that smile.
Mm-hmm. That looked really creepy and wrong.
Well, that's because of that CGI stuff that I didn't notice until somebody started highlighting it. But anyway, the whole point of that is that in Man of Steel, that version of Superman, which wasn't Superman yet, he would never take a picture. He wasn't smiling. He had no confidence. He was hiding. He was debating on should he do his own thing, should he listen to his dad, and then his real father Jor-El told him something completely different.
Maybe he should have already been Superman before the Justice League film. I'm sorry, the DCEU is borked.
I understand your position. I understand your position, but I understand. But
nicely casted.
My only position is that in Man of Steel, there's a reason why that played out that way. In terms of what happened after that, that's different. But that's why that happened in that film. And also, when Zod showed up, before they fought and killed everyone else with the buildings collapsing, he did the terraforming thing to turn the planet into Krypton. In that moment, you had over 200,000 people die before they could fight. So then Superman just like, oh my God, all these people are dead. And then he's trying to fight this guy where he has no experience. The buildings are collapsing. He can't get a hint. Like, this dude is overwhelmed.
Even though he's had his powers for like 20 years longer than all these guys.
He doesn't know how to use them. He has no experience. He has no look. I know humans. Look, I know humans. Powers
for 2 hours, and they could take out a dude.
Hey, we gonna have some kind of order in here, all right? Or I will cut your ass off.
So yeah, like I was saying,
there's gonna be some order. I'm gonna cut you off.
I'm gonna just sit here.
No, you're right, Danny. But all I'm saying is that this is a dude that was overwhelmed. I know humans that when they lose their car keys, they start acting like fucking idiots over car keys.
He's not a human. He's a Kryptonian.
I understand that, but he was raised by humans and he has their elements. He has all their traits.
Stop laughing. Stop it. You stop it now.
Danny knows he's just like, damn it, Terrance, just let
Where's my
talk.
Order in the court.
Okay, now, Jason, Enzo, you talk. What you got to say about the situation?
Listen, man, plain and simple. Like even sorry,
I missed your voice. I almost forgot what your voice sounded like. I was
okay, man. I was just letting
y'all
you guys
going
do,
at it. Like,
yeah, I'm letting you guys do your thing, man. But again, I agree. Like with Danny and Terrance, like he didn't learn to be Superman. He wasn't Superman at the time. You know what I mean? He just got his powers. He didn't know how to use them. He was reckless when he was fighting Zod. Even when he killed Zod at the end and started screaming, you could tell like that fucking hurt him. He's not going to be killing anybody in other movies, right? He knows how it feels to kill Zod. He killed Zod. He didn't like it. I can guarantee you in other movies, those things are what changed him. So like they said, in Justice League, like we did see a different Superman. He had more confidence when he's fighting Steppenwolf. As soon as he comes in, he's like, oh, is this guy bothering you? You know what I mean?
Right,
so,
right.
He killed Doomsday.
Yeah, but
Doomsday. Okay.
Let me get clarification.
He didn't like killing.
Why don't you like
killing?
Man of Steel again, John? For the record,
me.
Yeah.
One, it's just Zack Snyder, pretentious, slow, boring. It was really boring. And then like
Man of Steel.
Yeah, it's super boring. It's super boring. But to qualify, I feel like when it came to the powers and stuff, it was just a lot of CGI stuff. We didn't get as much of the like they hit these archaic tropes like dad dies. It's like he could have saved him. You didn't give real good reasons to why. It was just like the dad's like, yeah, go ahead, save the dog, but just let me die. It's all good. It's fine. Or like there's no development of his powers or anything like that. Like we didn't get a montage when he was a kid like the best we got was the X-ray thing, so it would kind of pay off when the Kryptonians were starting to get it.
But
I would have liked to see more of what?
They explained it to you why Kevin Costner didn't allow him to save him.
Yeah, but just because they say it doesn't mean it makes sense. It's just,
okay, but in the
sense?
context, it did make sense. It did because look, if somebody is conflicted, I have seen examples of humans not doing shit they're supposed to do.
Come
on,
my client
what is the recent situation that happened where humans weren't doing shit they were supposed to and they were just watching some shit happen? That's a classic human trait. Superman was raised by humans.
We're not bringing that up. Don't do that. But don't do that.
No. But humans were watching. Clark was watching. Oh no, I'm scared. What should I do? That's exactly what he did.
His dad told him not to save people twice.
But he attempted to go, and his father stopped him. Right?
Yes. So if you had a child that had some kind of superpower, and you know how the government is now, you wouldn't do everything in your power to protect that child because you know as soon as they find out that your son can run 200 miles an hour, they're going to take him from you and you ain't going to never see him again. They're going to do all these crazy experiments.
Then don't give me the bullshit that they're going to be like, oh, be a symbol for hope and this and that then. Don't you don't get to have it both ways.
Jarrell. Okay, look, Jonathan and Martha Kent. They did speak on.
So why aren't we talking about the comics now? It only works for this film, right?
No. This is something that's different, but there is a such thing. There is a such thing as a darker Superman, the one in the 90s when he has the long hair, when he's like fucking people up. So I'm just saying, like, there's always something to go to if you want to bring that up. But again, Jonathan and Martha Kent, they did hint to something that he's special. But that's not Jarrell. Jarrell was just like, son, this is what you need to do. That was clear. And to compare that to what Jonathan and Martha said, is just like,
and in fact, if you go back, Jarrell said when he was sending him off in the little shuttle that this place will give him his best chance to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
How would he know that?
Because he researched. He's a damn scientist.
He's a scientist. Like what he spent years studying the entire solar system and the universe before they look. There's a reason why
I am preparing to open up the Phantom Zone right now.
Yes, exactly. Like this dude, when the planet Krypton was exploding, he already knew where he was going to send his son for a reason.
But you really think he would know that it would give him superpowers That was one of my biggest
no.
It's not running around like Bill Cosby.
No. It's not about that. It's not about that. It just so happened. But he figured, look, humans are humans and they have their own history. But it's better for him to get away from something that's blowing up to give him a chance. If he would have stayed on Krypton, guaranteed death. Versus if you go over here,
they've been to Earth then.
No.
Well, in that context, no, not them. No. But there have been other Kryptonians. You're
asking me to infer a lot.
No, John. Them specifically, they have not. But there have been other Kryptonians that have.
About to get sent off the island if you don't let me fucking talk. I'm 2 seconds. If you listen to the damn movie, John, it tells you at the beginning. And they have been exposed all over the doggone universe and terraforming stuff to fit Krypton. It says that in the movie.
Feels silly. Just because it says it doesn't mean it makes sense.
All right. The Phantom Zone is open now.
That's my issue.
Well, why wouldn't it make sense? They're more advanced than we are. So why wouldn't it make sense that they could do that?
Because who else is gone? Is it just Jor-El? Is it the whole thing? Because then if they knew the yellow sun would give them powers, why haven't they done this earlier?
But it wasn't really saying that the yellow sun was gonna give them powers.
They didn't know that.
Why bother sending him to Earth? They
didn't know. No. But again, it's better than being on a planet that explodes and kills you. In fact, remember the scene where Zod, when he was just like, what the fuck is this shit going on with my vision? And because of his mental discipline, he was able to master it quicker than Clark. But he himself, it's not like they gave us a scene where Zod was like, oh, shoot, here's the powers that we expected. He didn't know what the fuck was going on.
And
then what about the women?
Hold on. And even in the original Superman 2, they didn't know they were going to have powers when they got on Earth. It's
exactly.
They started flying, and it's like, oh, what is this?
Which works for me. But also, you're doing a whataboutism about another movie. Okay, fine. So should he have the power where he rips the S off and puts him in cellophane plastic?
My point is, they did not know that Superman was going to have powers when they sent him
in that film. But you guys just said they looked stuff around. Pick one.
The ass off, that was bullshit.
But looking
I ain't never seen that before.
Looking for a planet that
you don't remember the cellophane S?
I remember that.
Hold on. Looking for a planet that's going to give someone the best chance of survival and telling them that they're going to have powers are totally different. They never said he was going to have powers. They just said this is the planet that you were going to have the best chance of survival on. It just so happened that when he got on that planet, he got powers.
Let me ask you this. Nobody here on planet Earth, as far as I know, has set foot on Mars. But these scientists doesn't see how the Mars look and send stuff out there to figure out how stuff look and figure out that we can't survive on there.
Well,
I'd make can happen.
Well, I'd make the argument, why wouldn't we figure out how to colonize the moon first?
Maybe we will.
They're gonna figure it out, but you gotta figure it out though. Look, in terms of these other species out there in the DC universe, they have like powers and shit that can kill people. Now, humans are the most dangerous, but they're not necessarily immediately as capable as, say, these alien species. That's why they felt, we're going to send you over here. You should be better than if we send you over here. That's how they felt.
Exactly. Not only that, he looks like a human. He's going to fit in right away.
Yeah, he grew up to be a handsome-ass human, a square jaw. Like, he's like the best version of what they're supposed to be. So he fits right in.
It's kind of like this. I ain't never been to Minnesota. But if my daughter or grandsons have some kind of disease, they say, well, he'll flourish better if he goes to a colder climate. I damn sure ain't going to send their ass to fucking... I'm going to send them probably to Minnesota, Canada, somewhere where it's predominantly cold. Does that not make sense?
So Danny, what if I were like sick? Would you come and help me? And
yeah, I'd help you. That makes sense, John.
Can I go to the Phantom Zone? My brain hurts.
Oh, damn, he's volunteering. Like, see,
I need to replenish. Like,
John? You know what's funny about
they're just like
John?
I can't right now.
John, do you know why that's funny that you said that? Because there have been characters that are like, send me to the Phantom Zone.
Shoot, I'll be back.
And then
stronger than ever.
And John, when they get there, Some do get stronger, sure, but most of them they like fuck. I shouldn't have said that shit. I don't want to be.
No, I'm not scared. I'll come back with a hairline. You just watch me.
Well, let's go to the next topic.
Yes.
We were talking about Predator 1 and 2. I think yesterday me, John, and Enzo were talking about it. If I'm not mistaken, John said he likes 1 better. Enzo said he likes 2 better. I am a fan of 1, 2, and of 3. And when I say 3, I mean Predators. The one with when they drop them on that planet and the Predators.
Adrian Brody and fucking,
fucking wait. What's the question?
The 3 Predator films, quote unquote.
I was just saying that yesterday we were having a conversation, 3 of us out of 4, and John was saying he liked Predator 1 better.
I think so.
Enzo said he liked Predator 2 better. I'm leaning towards Predator 2. I'm kind of torn in between. But I also said on top of that, I like the Predators 3. I can't stand the Alien versus Predator. I think that's garbage. But the Predator where they drop all the different killers in the different parts of the world on that one planet, and the 2 warring predators chase them.
So what did I tell you about AVP? So I said it's you got to be drunk kind of film, and it's
So are you asking me to answer it, or are you like I don't?
I'm just making a statement about whatever you want to put in there. Anybody want to put in?
Have you seen all the or at least the original 2 Predators?
Yeah, I've seen all that stuff many times.
What you think?
Okay, well for me, the reason why I think the first Predator trumps all that is because you have the scenario of these badasses being in this jungle. There is something that is out there that they don't know what it is. And one of the soldiers in particular who doesn't fear anything, he is concerned. He gets his group concerned, like, Billy, what the hell is wrong with you? You don't fear any man. He's like, well, this ain't no man, so. And then you kind of see, okay, there's an outline of it, but what is that? Is that a person wearing a suit, or is that a literal alien? You see that there's green blood, like, oh shit, it is an alien. Well, what does it look like?
Yeah.
Right. And then it was like I had the question of, is there more than one? What's going on? So they start getting picked off, and I'm like, how do you kill this thing? Like, or what is its weaknesses? And then you get to the point where okay, it seems like he's responding based off of aggression, maybe, or the fact that they have weapons. I'm like, maybe. So, and then I kept watching the film, and then I saw, like, okay, if you cloak yourself with the mud, that can provide you cover. So the Predator character became more fascinating over the course of the film, even though there was a lot of mystery behind it. And of course, as you guys know, that leads up to the big Arnold versus Predator, where you really get to fully see him. So, and then you see what happened with the whole wrist thing, how they got this self-destruct mechanism, like, hey, I may fail, but you coming with me, right? So I like that. And
or you're not getting my tech, bitch. Like,
exactly. Yeah. And you kind of look at the other films, like if you get to thank you. If you get to number 2, you now know what the Predator looks like, what he can do. So because that mystery is not there, that automatically to me is not as enjoyable. The only thing for me for 2,
the fans know, but
yeah.
Well, I mean, fair enough. I guess the people that specifically saw the first one, but with number 2, I did like the whole city element. That's interesting, but to me, nothing beats that you're in the jungle and it's just what is out there. Where is it hiding? Is it in the trees? Is it in this and that? It's like, to me, nothing beats that.
You see,
no matter what they do.
I'm gonna have me some fun.
You see,
I'm gonna have me some fun.
Right. Yeah, all that shit.
But you see, me, I'm kind of different than you, Terrance. Like the first time I seen the first Predator, absolutely one of the best movies of that year for sure, right? And I loved it. I loved first Predator. Second one I like better is because we already know the Predator. The first one kind of slow or builds up, and then we finally get the good reveal at the end. But at least in 2, we already know what we're going up against, and that's what I liked more than actually the first one.
Danny Glover made 2 better.
Well, for sure.
We finally kills him one in the ship, and all of them start popping up. He's like,
and okay, that's a great scene. before I go back to the first one, I got to say that I thought that was the best scene of the movie, aside from the bathroom scene where he was fixing himself when he got injured.
And the old woman standing outside, and she's like,
right. She's like, what the hell is this? Let me go get a broom right quick, Johnny. I'm like,
I like when he killed a Jamaican lord.
Oh yeah. That was more of a badass moment, and it was like, okay, he's gonna die. But when he was in that bathroom with the kid, I'm just like, ooh, what is this? Like, is it like I had a lot of questions, but that end sequence of seeing a lot of predators was cool, and then it also showed the audience that these things have honor, which is something that most humans don't have. It's like there's a bunch of them. They saw that he killed one of theirs. It was 1-on-1. So this human is obviously exceptional. So it was a respect thing. We're going to get the body, and here you go. Here's a weapon from 1914 or whatever it was. And then he just walked away. I'm like, that is 17.
1817.
Okay. So yeah, like, you know, when that happened, I'm like, it's a respect thing, and he walked off, and I'm like, that's cool. But with the first one, because of the intensity of not knowing the creature, you can never do better than that. The fact that I already know what it is, that entire element is gone. It's completely gone, and all you have is something that can be cool.
It's kind of like two different versions of Batman or Superman movie. You know, Superman a badass in one, what he can do, and two, he was put up against three Supermen. So, what Superman can do? What the hell he gonna do now? And we know what the Predator can do. What are we gonna do with this different man? Because the devil was a beast in that one to me.
Do you guys know that Predator 2 was not supposed to end the way it did?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Predator.
What do you mean? What happened?
Predator 2 was supposed to be shot a different way, but I can't remember the full details. I think it was either the budget or the studio, or they were running out of time for its release, so they had to just put the ending together the way it was. But the ending was supposed to be something totally different.
Well, that I don't think I knew that, and if I did, I probably forgot. But like, in terms like how I am in real life, if I'm going up against a force that I don't know, my mind is everywhere. I don't know how to deal with that. There's nothing worse than that. You know, in comparison to now, it's my second round, third round, whatever. To me, that's easier. There's nothing like dropping Terrance in an unfamiliar situation. I don't know what to do. I have to kind of make it up as I go along. And that's what made it terrifying, is that all those characters with Arnold, they were badasses for different reasons. And yet they were just like, fuck, what are we going to do? They were not succeeding. They were getting killed left and right. And I'm like, that situation had me on edge the whole movie. The Predator in 2, where he's in the city and the cop is hunting him down. You got these little team of people that are like, we're going to catch him. I'm like, that's cool, but there's no intensity for me there. Not in comparison to something that's unfamiliar and taking out all these badass characters.
I found there was a... Sorry, John, go ahead. You go.
Oh no, go ahead and finish your thought. I'll probably be on wrong.
I found a lot of good intensity in the second one. The third one, the one Danny was talking about, I didn't like that one at all.
The one where they're all dropped on the alien planet.
Yeah,
I didn't like that one either. It had...
There's a little try hard for me.
Yeah, I think it had 2 scenes that I liked. I did like the one where he fought the guy from the Yakuza or whatever. Like, I thought that was cool, but like the movie as a whole, I'm like, look, unless you can give
some things they could leave out.
Right, like unless you
leave out Lawrence. Go ahead.
Yeah, I hated what they did with his character, bro.
Wait. What about Lawrence?
Lawrence Fishburne.
You could leave out Lawrence Fishburne character. He wasn't needed
at all.
You could leave out that other thing that came down there. I don't know what it was, but it was hunting it too. It wasn't human. It had the bugs, the maggots on it, or whatever.
Yeah,
right. I appreciate the creativity of that one as I do with 2, but it's like after I saw 1, I'm like, sure, you could make good Predator movies, but in order to get me to feel a particular way, you will need to do a movie completely focused on the entire Predator race, where I can literally have that ending where you got number 2, where it's a lot of them, but it's the whole movie. I want to, if you can do that, then I think that will eclipse the first movie, if you can do that.
Well, what I like about the third movie too was They were walking on, and they thought it was Earth. When they went to that edge, and they see all them damn moons. Man, that's a hell of a thing.
Like, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Where the hell am I at? Because you know you ain't on Earth. You're looking at 4 or 5 moons in the sky. So
okay, so Danny, let me ask you this. So, say you outside, you barbecuing or whatever. It's like kind of like evening, so the sun is about to go down, and you see me pop up, but then I have like 3 predators with me. What would be your response?
Where the hell am I doing that?
Wait. Why are you gonna shoot me? I thought we were brothers.
Shit.
Do I have X-ray vision? Can I beat Zod?
Shit.
Okay, but before you start shooting, don't you think it would be better to ask, like, okay, number one, they rolling with me, so why would you resort to violence instead of waiting to hear?
It's gonna be like that guy Danny Trejo that was sitting down there in the grass, and they were just trying to pull me out for bait. Oh, let me up there.
Okay, but wouldn't it
go through my head? No.
But wouldn't it provide you comfort that you see me before you see them, or you feel like just their presence would be too stark?
But I'm pretty sure I'll probably see 3 dots on your chest somewhere.
Yeah.
No, because like, okay,
3 dots on my chest somewhere.
But here's the thing, though. But if I'm with them, first of all, if they were going to kill me, they would have done it already. But because I'm an honorable guy, they won't do that. I'm not going to carry weapons on my person. I'm not going to try to attack them. If anything, I would think they're cool, and I would try to understand them, because that would be an opportunity for me to get something different than humans.
I live on the planet Earth. I don't live on the planet Terrance. You get that place all by yourself.
So if I wanted, so if I told you I was there to recruit you for a special mission, you wouldn't come?
Mm-mm.
I'd be skeptical.
No,
I'd be skeptical.
I like living and breathing.
Okay, so I gotta say, with the 2 films, it's a hard question to answer, because this was a weird time that I don't think we see very often lately, where the sequel to the first film actually does a really good job of world building, not just carbon copy and do it bigger. Terminator 1 to Terminator 2, 2 completely different films. Alien to Aliens, completely different films. And I think it's the same thing here. If somebody asked me which one was my favorite, it might be which one did I see last and what day is it. The reason why I really gravitate to the first one, aside from the memes, like you got Arnold Schwarzenegger. Come on, man. It's just silly. Get to the chopper. And you got like Carl Weathers, who has this really good like redeeming arc. He shows up with them, and there's like all these like little twists and turns. But somebody like recontextualized the film for me one time, and I've never been able to look at it different. Are you guys into slasher films at all? Like a Halloween or Jason or a Scream? Any of that stuff?
I don't care for it.
Okay.
Jason, Halloween, Freddy.
There you go. Okay. So now we remember Scream for sure. There's literally a guy making jokes about the tropes of characters and stuff like that.
In movies, yeah.
Everybody makes a stupid decision, right? Even though, don't go off by yourself. Don't be that guy. That kind of shit. Predator was kind of one of the first like slasher films where everybody was smart. Like they were all making right decisions until like towards the end when they finally started getting picked off. But these were guys that first we have this huge action set where we're trying to like go in and get a hostage, and we're doing this. Big explosions everywhere, crazy. It's all fun. That's like the third act.
Can you guys give me a few moments, and then when I come back, then I guess tell me what I missed, and then I'll kind of answer from there or whatever.
Cool. Yes, sir. Okay. So, like you remember, they're going on in the compound. Arnie's already pissed off. Like things are changing. He's trying to figure it all out. Big action pieces, explosions here, people getting shot up. It's all crazy. Awesome. Now we slow it down. We're in the jungle. Things are kind of weird. You're figuring stuff out about all the characters. Like everybody's learning a little bit. Shout out to Great's word guy, Sexual Tyrannosaurus, the former governor of Minnesota, talking about tobacco turning into a sexual Tyrannosaurus. That's awesome. Good fun dialogue. All these characters have something to bring to the table. Like, we got the big guns, and you got a tracker, and you got a guy who's a really good commander, and it was just a lot of good team stuff out in the middle of the woods. And then all of a sudden we're at the end where it's like just a battle of wits between two guys. And it's fun. There's a lot of buildup. And then you have Predator 2, where now we're in a completely different environment. Something that we can all kind of attest to. I've actually made the joke with my girlfriend the other day. It was like, this kind of reminded me of like Die Hard or Lethal Weapon if it was sci-fi. Like Danny Glover feels like John McClane in a sci-fi film. This guy who you wouldn't think would ever even consider step, and he's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's not built. He's not this big dude. He's not. He's just quick, and he knows his surroundings, and he knows what's going on, and he just figures stuff out. And then you also get the amped up action. Like the Predators can blow up more shit and do more crazy stuff. And it's all dialed to 11, but Danny Glover's character is way like relatable. You know, I'm not going to build a fucking bow out in the middle of the jungle anytime soon or look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I could believe, you know, other than, you know, maybe if I went out in the sun a little more, I could be like Danny Glover. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can know my surroundings and see what's going on and put two to two together and not get killed, hopefully. But and then you get more lore. Like that ending is cool. Like seeing that, confirming that they have all the trophies and all this stuff. It's hard to argue which one's better. I think the first one's got Icon written all over it, and the second one has like good world building lore stuff. So I think like they both work really well in tandem. Like I just don't see me watching Alien without going to watch Aliens, or watching Terminator 1 without watching Terminator 2. And if you do that, you're a sadist and you don't like good progression of good films. That's where I'm at. I like them both. It's so hard to pick.
I would have liked to seen part 3 with Danny Glover and Arnold Schwarzenegger. That would have been so sick.
Or even just like put them in a weird country like Russia, and it's like a group of militants in Russia having to deal with it, or
something.
I think the AVP had the potential to be good, but it is out the ball.
Have you ever seen Attack the Block?
Yes.
With John Boyega.
Yes.
That's kind of what I thought the third Predator was going to be like. Something like that.
Attack the Block was really good, though.
I fucking love that film. That's why John Boyega should have been the main character for the new Star Wars.
That movie impressed me. I was like, okay, that's just. I was like, yeah, it was really good. But
our next topic is going to be a Mortal Kombat movie.
Ooh, the first one or the second one?
The one that's supposed to be coming out here next year. Are we interested in?
Wait, wait, what? What? Excuse me, what's happening?
You didn't know there was a Mortal Kombat movie coming?
No.
Before coronavirus is supposed to come out this January.
No.
Pushed back.
They've
already got. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you can fill me in on what I missed, so I could quickly give opinions.
Pretty much. I finished off with. I think this was a weird type of franchise where I feel like it's hard to pick the best one. I think they both work really well in tandem. And I think if you can watch the first one and don't watch the second one, you're silly and missing out. I think they're both really good for completely different things.
What franchise?
Pretty much, I'm putting Predator and Predator 2 on the same pedestal as like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 and Alien and Aliens, where it was a perfect example of a franchise that went to the next film and did a little bit more world building and raised the stakes, and they both just work really well together.
If in terms of Terminator 1 and 2, I do feel that while I get what you're saying, I do consider that to be very different in the sense that Terminator 2 is probably one of the few sequels where I consider it so much better than the first.
It's the best action film ever made.
Yeah, for a long time, like, I remember when I've had different humans ask me, like, Terrance, what do you think is the best sequel ever made? 99% of the time, I say Terminator 2. All the time.
With that.
Yep.
Very rarely can someone be like, they might say Aliens or something like that.
Spider-Man 2, Empire Strikes Back.
Strikes Back.
Like those Aliens, Spider-Man 2, Empire Strikes Back. Those are the three.
X-Men 2.
Yeah, X-Men 2 as well. So so those 4 get brought up a lot. There's a few others, but like Terminator 2, I'm like, man, that's.
Well, they're so different. One's like the Terminator 2 is like super action, James Cameron, blah, 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 and the first one's like creepy, like slasher film again. It's robot killing people, going after one person, just boop, boop, boop.
Right. It was like, what is this Terminator thing? And then you're trying to find out. Okay, Sarah Connor's important. Okay, her son is, and you're like, oh man. And then like, how do you stop this thing? But then you get to number 2, and now there are 2 of them. And then you find out that they can be reprogrammed, and John has to be protected from a more advanced Terminator. I was like, a more advanced one. I'm like, that T-101.
It's just good world building. They added
It's terrifying though, because I'm like, you're telling me that there is something more advanced than model T-101. I'm like, it's time to kill ourselves. You cannot die. I'm like, no, I'm dying. I'm sorry. The future is done. No more. I'm done.
I just like having both. It feels empty without the first one. Regardless of whether
you're absolutely right. You're right.
Terminator 2 was the one with the liquid Terminator.
T-1000.
Yeah. Seeing that in the theater, there was nothing better than that, man. Oh my god!
All the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh man, I didn't see it in the theater, man. I saw because it came out in what 91, so 89.
I was there.
I was 4 years old.
It was 92, I think.
I thought it came out in 91 because I was 4 in 1991.
Mm-hmm. I think it was 92.
One of the 2 years, but
it was one or the other.
Yeah, I was there in the theater watching that movie, man, and at the time, mind blowing.
I just love that actor.
Anything like that before, bro? You know what I mean?
The actor
liquid Terminator.
Dude, and you'll like this. That actor cared so much. The T-1000 cared so much about that character. He had little nuanced stuff. He went and trained with guns, so he never blinked when he shot stuff. Like that was like a huge thing. That's so dope.
Robert Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah, and he trained on his running because those scenes where he was running after them vehicles, I was like, dear God.
He doesn't blink.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the film. He never blinks.
I know. I noticed.
I'm like,
this dude is a
1991.
Oh, look at that. Terrance nailed it.
So you guys were so Terminator, and then what else did you guys say that I missed?
Go on to the next topic.
He's going on to Mortal Kombat. John didn't know that.
Apparently, there's a Mortal Kombat movie.
Wow.
What the fajita?
Wait, you talking about you didn't know about the Scorpion's Revenge?
No. The live action one.
Oh, apparently there's a live action one.
Wait, hold on.
Yes, I know.
John, you know about Scorpion's Revenge, right?
The animated one. Yeah.
Okay.
But a live action one? Really? All right.
Yes.
All right. Sure.
I'm excited.
Because Legacy went so well.
Man, hey, Legacy was dope. That stuff that was on YouTube, that was awesome.
It was
awesome. From a creative standpoint of them trying to put their own little spin on these established characters, I thought it was brilliant.
Are we talking about the internet one?
Yes, the one that was on YouTube.
Sick,
I think it was by like Machinima or something.
Yeah, I didn't like season 2 too much. I really didn't like season 2 too much. But the first season, the fucking first 2 episodes with Jax and Sonya, and then they had the fucking episode with Cyrax. What? Those are my favorite episodes.
I bought that shit on Blu-ray. Like that blew up so much that they put it on Blu-ray for people to buy.
And I would have bought it.
I was in Best Buy and I was like kind of walking by. I was like, Mortal Kombat Legacy. And then I asked the dude, I'm like, they put the YouTube thing. He was like, yeah, man, it's just blowing up. And I was like, I'll take one of these, please.
Yeah, for real.
Give me the first one. I love the first one. It was so good.
First Mortal Kombat movie?
The only thing I can't understand is how do you keep getting Raiden so wrong?
Man,
why do you keep casting him so wrong?
I don't. Okay, look, Raiden was different, but okay, he was different. That's
they were fine, but come on, you didn't want that Raiden. You wanted Raiden.
I'll tell you this: facts. That's not Raiden in the sense of the game, but. Because he was in an institution, like anytime there's institution stuff, because I've been in there, especially in his case when they're telling you you're wrong and you deserve to be there. I'm like, I know what that's like. If I'd have had Raiden's powers, oh boy. So yeah, that connected with me in a personal way. So
are they trying to tell me James Wan's going to direct this?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I heard he's the producer.
Oh, producer. Okay, yeah, he's a producer.
Simon McQuaid. I don't know.
It's a no name director. First time you ever directed a movie.
Good. Give me some fresh blood. I'm sick of the circle jerk in Hollywood.
Kevin Feige does it all the time with the MCU. He be like, "Hey, Bobby, you want to direct Doctor Strange 3? I've never directed." Oh, good, you're hired, Bobby.
Cool. If you start going off the rails, I'll come in and reset you. But
exactly, I'll be like, "Bitch, didn't I tell you not to put Namor in here? He gonna be in the next movie. Take this shit out. Do you follow my orders? I'm Kevin Feige. That's how he does it."
Yeah, I'm down. It could be good. I mean, special effects are better. I mean, we've had so many different iterations. Maybe somebody will finally nail it. I still find the first one I thought it was really well done, especially for its time. The second one is just a goofy fucking cartoon that I watched way too many times as a kid. It's so terrible. It's so bad, but I'll watch it and laugh like a sci-fi B movie every time.
That first movie, okay, like, as a kid, when I watched it and played the games and stuff, I'm like, this is a martial arts movie that happens to be Mortal Kombat characters. That's how I saw it. It wasn't really anything that stuck out for somebody like me that was watching countless martial arts movies back to back.
It's like Bloodsport with creatures.
Right. And to be honest, you bring up Bloodsport, Johnny Cage was influenced from the way Van Damme looked in Bloodsport. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, that's cool that you mentioned that. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I hear, is Johnny Cage was actually supposed to be Van Damme.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like Liu Kang is like Bruce Lee. Like there was a lot of inspirations throughout a lot of the
characters. The way that Liu Kang looks in the first one was the way Bruce Lee looked in Enter the Dragon.
Yes.
Well, and also, why do you think he goes?
Well, yeah, there's a Bruce Lee character in every single fighting game. They either look like him, fight like him, or both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's one in Tekken.
Mm-hmm. One in Virtual Fighter, one in Dead or Alive. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm looking at chat. I cannot pronounce this name to save my life. Damon Nisian Scott. Mortal Kombat Annihilation is a guilty pleasure for me. Hell yes, it is. Animalities, baby. It's so terrible. It's the worst.
That movie is terrible, but I liked watching Sonya beat up people. But other than that,
Katana's a babe.
Yeah, like seeing them was like, man, when she got the mud on her and stuff.
Is Jade? Gimme.
Can't watch.
Terrible acting.
But the movie has no substance, though.
Can't watch.
It has no substance.
Can't watch it. The rating in that movie is so fucking bad.
Come on, you mean the guy from Sex and the City? He's awesome.
It's Gambi.
But I'll say this though, I'm not gonna lie. When I was watching it, there were a couple of moments that I perked up aside from Sonya and kicking ass. But like when I saw Nightwolf, I'm like, is that Nightwolf? Like, what the fuck? Like, I wanted to see more of him, but he was only in one scene. I was like,
I think Reptile scene was one of my scenes that I like. You know what I mean?
Well, from the first one, or
the second one.
Okay.
What did he say? What did Nightwolf say to Liu Kang? He was like, well, there's a slow way and a fast way. And then Liu Kang was like, we don't have time for the slow way. I thought you said that. He fucking threw an axe at his fucking head.
It's like, boom, movie's over.
Yeah, hit him with the fucking tomahawk, like, sit down.
Dude, trust me, that's a get yourself a bottle, like little Henny, little Jack on the side. Watch that film. So much fun, dude. So much fun. It's so abysmal. It's absurd how bad it is.
Can't do it. It was on
so bad.
Maybe a month ago or 2 months ago, like that. And I was just like, no, sorry, no. It was at the part where they were just about to do their animalities, and Shao Kahn was about to change, and he started to change. I was like, no.
It was weird too, because I remember seeing the credits, and it was like Shinnok. I'm like, when did Shinnok pop up? And then I was like, wait, the dude with the hood? I'm like, that's Shinnok? Like, I was mad as hell. I'm like, no.
Dude, he just fucking hammered to the fucking nether realm.
Yeah, I'm like, there's no way that. I'm like, how the fuck? I know when I went back, I heard them say his name once, but I'm like, the fact that I forgot that Shinnok was there for like 2 seconds, I'm like, that's bad. That is.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation is 90% action, 5% bad dialogue, and 5% story. Yeah, I feel you. Absolutely.
Wait. Danny, what was your favorite scene in Annihilation, or you don't have any?
Not really. I thought that movie was kind of.
It was all about the soundtrack, baby.
I like the Nightwolf thing. I agree with Enzo. They got the wrong rating. I don't like him. I like the first rating better.
Me too.
Oh yeah, Christopher Lambert.
And to tell you the truth, the rating that played in Conquest was the best to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can see it, but I don't know Christopher Lambert though. That's a hard one.
I don't see Raiden being funny. If you see him in the cartoons, he's not funny. And
that's true. That's very true.
Or in the game.
Put him in the costume.
I like that scene though. I like that scene when he was like brilliant. So what do you plan to do about them? And there was just a bunch of them behind him when they turned around, and then he was like and then it's fucking lightning. Like I thought that was a nice sense of humor. I was like, yeah, Raiden will fuck your shit up. I got.
We gotta talk about though. Shang Tsung, best casting. Johnny Tsunami's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Always been Shang Tsung.
They still use him in the game till today.
Yes, his likeness. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat Aftermath is his likeness and his voice.
Yeah.
Robin show is Liu Kang. I loved me some Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yo, yeah. That movie was awesome. Chris Farley.
Funny.
Yeah, we're gonna get the Chris Farley ninja skin. The Great White Ninja in Mortal Kombat. I want that. Can we do that now, please?
No, I don't want him in that channel.
Wait, what did he say in the movie? He's like, I want to be more like Kobe. And then he's like, no, Kobe will never be a full ninja because he doesn't have a heart like yours. And it was like, oh, okay.
Oh, dude, I'm so gonna watch that film this week.
That's messed up, man. Now I'm sad because now I'm thinking about Chris Farley. But yeah,
dude, rest in peace, Tommy boy. Love you, boy. Oh man, it's good shit.
I am trying to pull something up.
And if you don't play the Mortal Kombat Annihilation CD at the gym, you're just a bad person. Can I throw that out there right now?
I play that shit when I'm watering my grass. The neighbors be like, "What the fuck is wrong with him?"
I'm like bench pressing when they're like, "Sonya." I'm like, "Yeah, Johnny."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Johnny Cage. Somehow it goes from me watering the grass and the plants to me doing the fucking roundhouse kicks and shit. My neighbor's like, "What the hell is wrong with him?"
Why is he shadow boxing all by himself? This is a yoga class.
Exactly. I'm like, y'all don't hear this badass music? Hello?
But
check this out. Check this out, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me what to do. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Wait. I was just kidding. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't know. I mean, how do you get better than Mortal Kombat?
Yo.
This is about to happen. Everyone just open your ears and open your hearts.
I inspired Terrance to make this video, you know.
I'm happy for this. I'm gonna mute my mic so we can.
Hey, Terrance. I inspired you to make that video, eh?
No, I had already made it when we had our conversation.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So it was just a coincidence that it came.
Yeah, that's why I was laughing, and then I had mentioned that, like, yeah, that's definitely something I already tackled.
If you like this, feel free to look up Selma Hayek in Dogma. She sings.
Yeah.
The Candy Girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was some thoughts. Some things happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's funny? Like, my friend was showing his mom some of my recent videos, and like I wasn't with her, but he put her on speaker, and her reactions to some of my shit was just priceless. I was like, what made you go, Mom? You should see this. Like,
bad decisions happen every day. Dude, I literally watched this when I was about to clock out for work today, and I'm in my car laughing like a fucking schoolgirl. I was just fucking dying. Every time I watch any scene from fucking Dusk Till Dawn, I always forget that Quentin Tarantino's in it, and I'm like, oh my god, he looks like a little.
Yeah, and he wrote the movie too, but like, because Robert Rodriguez is a dear friend of his, So he wrote it, and then he was, starring in it alongside George Clooney. I was like, cool,
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch the TV show that they made for Netflix or whatever? I never got
it. I couldn't get into it though. From Dusk Till Dawn series, I couldn't get into it.
I thought the story was so good. It felt just good on a one-off. I just thought the first film was perfect. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, the first movie was good. Then they tried to do a couple more, and they were just like trash.
Yeah, it didn't work. It was just like, I get it. Like the whole point was you went from a weird gangster film to like
vampire. Yeah,
you have two criminals that are like, yo, we need to get to Mexico. They fucking kidnap a family. They get over the border. They're like, yeah, titties, and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Tom Savini, who does all the like practical effects and stuff, he gets a cameo with he's the guy with the cock gun.
Yes.
Awesome, dude. He's so cool.
Yes, I agree. Wait, what the fuck happened to Danny?
I think he froze up, and he's probably.
I think I got mad at him because I think he got mad at me because I like Mortal Kombat Annihilation a little bit.
Danny accidentally sent himself to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, he did. The Phantom Zone. He was about to kick me. He like tripped. He's like, no.
Yep, he's just like going in there like, when I get out of here, Terrance.
Right, so T squared. What's the next video? Because I'm cool with Selma Hayek dancing, but what do you got in the hopper? Anything exciting?
There's definitely other things, and that's all I'll say.
That's fucking cryptic as hell, man. Now my balls have grown.
Always cryptic, just watch and see,
San Antonio Spurs, man. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do without sports this year? What are we gonna do?
Well, supposedly basketball is supposed to come back July 15th or sometime in July. They want to do a little tournament in Orlando for the playoffs or whatever. I don't know yet. I don't know if it's gonna happen yet. They're still in talks, but yeah, man, it's not just basketball though. It's like all the events are done. There's no concerts to go to. There's no nothing. It's like it's gonna be a horrible summer.
It's like you tell yourself, it's like, well, but see, and it's funny because we say that, and it's like, but isn't summer like time to like go outside and stuff? But like, because I always tell people, I'm like, I'm Hispanic, dude. I can get very dark. I just don't go out in the sun. That's just like my whole thing. I just don't do it.
No, I'll go out in that sun, man. I'll go do stuff. You know what I mean? Like Jazz Fest we have down here. I go to all that shit. So
like a sweatband on and you like jazzercise out in the middle of the park.
I don't know about the jazzercise, but I go and I listen to stuff.
I remember one time when I went to the park and me and my friend Carlo. I haven't seen him in a while, but we would practice martial arts in the park. And like sometimes randomly there'd be crowds that pop out of nowhere. I'm like, Carlo, when the fuck did they get here, man? He's like, oh no.
You're like or do you ever do what is it? Tai Chi?
No. My art of fighting is Jeet Kune Do and Taekwondo.
Okay. So, I did Taekwondo I got to green belt. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because like for me, right before I got to my black belt, that's when I transitioned over to Jeet Kune Do. Because I got into it for the basis of learning how to hurt people. And once I learned what I felt I needed to learn, the rest of that kata stuff, I'm like, I need to learn something else. So I actually went to another dojo, and that's where I met Richard Bustillo, who's one of Bruce Lee's students. At the time, he was one of his students that I didn't know because I knew of so many, but he was the one that I didn't know about. And it was because I saw a picture. There was a bunch of Bruce Lee pictures on the wall, and then there was like one in the glass case, and it had Richard Bustillo, it had Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son, and then his wife Linda. And I go inside and I see him. I'm like, wait a minute, did I run back to the glass case, look at the picture, run back and look at him? I'll tell my mom, like, that he knows Bruce Lee's son and wife, like. And so I got to talk to him for 5 minutes, and I wanted to join that one, and my mom's like, no, you got to finish the other one first. So luckily for me, one day when I went over to my grandmother's house, there was a guy there named Joe, who's my uncle's friend, and he knows Jeet Kune Do. So at that point, I was like, oh shit. And he's like, so Terrance, you know, I heard you like to do training. Would you like me to teach you? I was like, absolutely. So my mom, she was like kind of a little bitter about it because I found a way around, you know, her not wanting to pay for me to go to this place. Yeah. So he would train me for 4 hours at a time in my grandmother's backyard. So that's how I learned Jeet Kune Do. And then he taught me Eskrima, which is the Kali sticks and the knife fighting. So, yeah.
I like, because you kept bringing up Bruce Lee's name. For the people who don't know, because you also used Jeet Kune Do. Would you like to tell the people what the connection there is?
Oh, yeah. Jeet Kune Do is Bruce Lee's fighting philosophy that he created. You know, so he basically he started with Wing Chun, and he fought someone in a street fight, and it took him like, I think it was like 1 to almost 2 minutes to beat this person. And this person was like a very skilled martial artist, but Bruce Lee thought that he should have been able to defeat him more quickly than that. And I was like, oh, so that led him into creating his own fighting philosophy away from Master Yip Man. So he took a lot of the different best techniques from different styles and combined them into one ultimate fighting system. So that way, no matter if you are in a tournament or you're fighting on the streets, that you can use moves to quickly fuck up your opponents, no matter if there's 1, 2, 3, whatever. So I know for sure that that's the case because I spent, let's say, so 3 days, right? So I spent a total of 12 hours with Joe. And then when I went back to Taekwondo before I quit that indefinitely to train with him full time, I was fucking those people up quick because they had these Taekwondo stances and shit. And I was in there like bobbing and weaving like Bruce Lee. And they were like, what the fuck is that, Terrance? I'm like, oh, this is Jeet Kune Do. You don't know nothing about this. And I was just fucking their asses up because before I learned that I was already beating up black belts and shit, you know, aside from like the grandmasters. But, you know, I had a certain what they call fighting potential. I did not realize my full potential, but I had something. And I think that's why Joe decided to take me in because he had heard about it. And it wasn't until he started training me when he was like, man, he's like, you really got something. I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm like, that's a huge compliment because from my perspective, I'm just this dude that's full of rage, that's sick and tired of humans fucking with him, you know? So, yeah.
Well, we finally got our host back. Jeez, we missed you, man.
I went to the Phantom Zone, bro.
That's what I was saying.
Danny, I kind of pictured it as like when you were going in, you were trying to snatch me with you, like, Terrance!
No, I'll be back. I don't know why I won't share that screen no more. I want, man.
What happened? Did it like mess you up or something?
I share the screen, but that's why I have enough memory on my computer.
Yeah, that happens. Definitely gotta put the link somewhere because that video Terrance made is just
man. That link is fire. So funny.
I was dying.
That video, and there's another one too. I can't think of what it is now. The one with Bruce Lee fighting Robin was funny too. Then there was another one. It was man, those videos are funny. I was at work the other day when I saw the one about Selma Hayek. I started busting out. My coworker's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Did not see that coming.
Yeah, I don't have a clue.
But I guess so we're just going to be waiting for your guys' takes for Stargirl 3, right? That's the next one.
That's the next
right.
one.
Yeah.
Whatever y'all want to I'm cool with. Like we always discuss throughout the week. Because we're going at 3 hours and 50 minutes. I got to go to work because people are starting to act crazy here where I'm at. I got to put on my back.
We couldn't sign out without the host, man. We couldn't bail out without you.
Danny, I know you got to leave, but I was wondering if maybe you could do 3 more hours before you leave. And
oh, yeah, easy.
Negative.
Yeah, let's go.
What the hell?
I spelled that wrong. Should be possessed.
You know, man, that movie has been mentioned in association with my name since I was 15. Like my Taekwondo masters mentioned it, Joe mentioned it, the people at school were like, Leroy. Like every time I walk down the hall, I'm like, man,
damn.
I tell you, you need to do a video on that. That would be funny. But last thing I want to say before we go, well, two things. First is I appreciate the show. I appreciate y'all for joining me.
Oh, absolutely.
As y'all can tell, I like things in order. Chaos, I can't call that. But that's why I put y'all in the timeout for a few seconds.
I'm here for the chaos, baby.
I ain't mad, but we gotta have chaos. So people ain't gonna understand it if we don't have some semblance of control. Last thing before we go is y'all need to watch Snowpiercer. Me and
the TV show.
Me and Enzo on it, man. And that show is all right. Show is fire. I ain't tell you nothing wrong. I don't
know. You gave Stargirl B-.
But no, I gave that a C- at first.
And see, that comment was like an ice shard to my heart right there. It just snuck it in like I didn't even see that coming.
No, it's not an A yet. I'll stand by that. It's not an A yet. I think Isaac is gonna make it an A. Like he's gonna be something serious.
Yeah,
he kind of reminds me of the T-2000 Terminator a little bit, whatever. When we turned the Iceman form, so I think he's gonna be all right.
That Snowpiercer looked like, I mean, at least like production wise, like it looked.
It's interesting. It's very interesting.
It's pretty.
It's very compelling. I'll tell you when they punish you. I'm just gonna tell you this one part. Man, they got this hole inside of the damn train, and you stick your arm into that. They clamp it. Then they let you sit out there for like 2 or 3 minutes. They got a timer. It's like -117. And so it then freezes your arm like liquid nitrogen coat on it. Pull it back in. They take a hammer and bust it off.
Oh, hell no.
They don't give you no kind of painkiller, anesthetics, whatever. And they're sure do something crazy to get her pain medicine. But I tell you, man, that show gonna be all right. So I encourage you all to watch it. Enzo's watching it. And we'll probably discuss a little bit more when we have more time. But again, fantastic show. I was looking forward to this. I knew it was going to be interesting.
Okay,
next Sunday, go ahead.
I was going to ask one final question. So if I'm in a position and I'm surrounded by enemies and you see me screaming like how Batman was screaming in Apocalypse War, like, would you guys come and help me, or do you feel like?
Yeah, I told you, I'm 500 yards deadly with a rifle.
I don't know. I think I feel like Terrance would already banished me to the Phantom Zone, so probably not. I don't know if I could be there because you already kicked me out, man.
That didn't happen yet. I mean, I had it open, but you didn't.
I will give it the old college community college try.
I mean, first of all, I said specifically I had it open. You were the one just like, I'm gonna dive in myself. I'm like, John, where are you going? John,
I'm going through.
We're gonna give you an assignment this week, John. You need to go back and rewatch Man of Steel. I don't see how you find that movie boring. That movie was fantastic.
Do you really want me to do it? Because I'll do it, but then we're gonna have a 4-hour discussion.
I don't even want to get into it. We'll be on here another 30 or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I totally don't see where that movie's boring. I mean, I don't see it, but everybody got their right to opinion.
I will give it a fair shake. But
I'm not probably won't like for your opinion.
Yeah.
Is one more hour too much to ask?
Y'all can go as long as y'all want to. I got to go.
Yeah.
I have to go.
Yeah, I gotta go too.
Damn.
My boyfriend has called me. Can't get into it, but things that happen in Minnesota are starting to happen over here.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go.
No problem.
No, I got you.
Be safe, Donnie.
All right, man. Let's take it easy.
Thanks for inviting me, guys. I had fun. Thanks for making my brain work.
No problem.
We're going to be back next Sunday, but instead of 6 o'clock, we're going to be back at 5. We're going to start at 5, so that's going to help John out with his situation. So
apparently they want me here. I don't know why, but
it'll be 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. on Sundays. And in honor of that, the new intro outro I got, that's what y'all take it, fellas.